in there and was freaked out about it for like 4 years. And my worst nightmare came true in that they did get in there. Well, not worst. It could have been worse if they decided to use the clothing for nesting material. Thank God they didn't do that. But so the bags that we found seeds and rat poison in, all of that clothing needed to be washed before I could do anything with it. Because I can't put clothes with poison on it in my closet.
Yeah, you can. Poison is good for the body. You wear clothes, and you know that poison just soaks right in, and it gets rid of all those unnecessary germs. You know, you want to be fully sterilized. You know, it kills. Poison kills, though, right? It kills germs, kind of like soap. Soap and poison are the same thing, right?
I'm not sure it would work on germs. It works on blood cells, though. It makes it not coagulate. The type of poison it is basically super warfarin. Which warfarin is what you give to people with high blood pressure that are prone to clotting.
Ah.
So, this is even stronger shit.
Lovely.
Yeah. So, and it smells. You can smell the poison. There's not even a lot in there, but it's enough that you can smell it on the clothes. So, that sucks.
Smells like raspberry.
I wish. No, it has a weird chemical smell. It's hard to describe. It's like musty, but not. That's not good if you're tired, too.
No, it's not. But I'm gonna do my best, because I gotta keep to at least some of my schedule that I've set.
Yeah, but where's everyone else? There's gotta be other people to help.
Hold on. Sending out the ping now. Okay. Let's see how well that goes. Alright, let me go ahead.
Give it like 2-3 minutes and pray.
Yeah, exactly. There. Also, I figured out a way to do a tier list without all the ads popping up in the way.
Yay!
Alright.
You might need to zoom that out ever so slightly, though.
Better.
Cool, you added some of my suggestions.
Yep. I didn't... Okay, if I had used all of the rabbits that we had in that list, this would go on way longer than it should.
I understand. They were just suggestions.
Right. Some of your suggestions were very macabre. I use that word a lot.
Well, it's not my fault that there's quite a few bunnies from horror stuff.
Mm-hmm. And if you notice, I did not use a Five Nights at Freddy's rabbit in here.
Yeah. Alright. They're super famous, though, you know that.
I know. I know that I could say, well, it's not a real rabbit. Well, technically, none of these are real rabbits. Except the one from Monty Python. That was a real rabbit.
That was a real rabbit, yeah. It was famous enough to make it into Minecraft, at least temporarily.
Yeah. Yep.
Much sadness that they took it away.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that rabbit. I
And
hated
yeah.
it, but I liked that rabbit.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I played it with the, when they added the rabbits, the first time I had played with the rabbits added, I encountered one, like, right away and was confused until I realized what was happening. It's like, why is it chasing me?
Oh boy.
It was all good. I had a sword.
I probably could have included Minecraft rabbit as a base image, but do we need to?
Nah.
If I start doing that, then I'm going to have to start going through other video games that included rabbits as well.
Well, you included one of the suggested ones that's a video game rabbit.
I
Actually,
did.
you have a few because there's a bunch of Pokemon. We're good. We're good. It's still only the two of us at the moment, though.
It is.
And
But we can probably do a few while we wait.
pray.
Anyways,
Wait and pray.
one thing we could do is this tier list looks a little boring.
Yeah, we usually give them fun names.
Let's see.
Shh. Seriously?
Hey, why not?
Gotta be that meme. Fine.
Okay, your turn.
Oh. Well, what's just shy of Ultra Instinct? I mean, come on.
Well, Super Saiyan. Well, actually, no, God mode apparently is. It's like you have your base mode, then you have Kaioken, then you have Super Kaioken, then you have Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3.
Super Saiyan 4.
Well, technically, based on they're not doing Super Saiyan 4 because GT doesn't exist in the current world of Dragon Ball Z Kai now. So what it is they went from Super Saiyan 3 to Super Saiyan God, and then Super Saiyan Blue.
So then that means this would... Wait, is Super Saiyan Blue the same as Ultra Instinct then?
No, Ultra Instinct is the level above Super Saiyan Blue.
Well, then this should be Super Saiyan Blue, wouldn't it? Super Rabbit Blue?
But do we?
I mean,
make...
if you're using Ultra Instinct...
Yeah. But should we do something like, instead of it being just all like Dragon Ball Z based, should we do something different? Should it be like...
I mean, it's hard to do something different when the top tier is Ultra Instinct. Like, how do you... How do they measure up against each other?
Well, okay, we think about other animes, like One Piece, for example. One Piece, they talk about, like, you know, with Luffy's, like, he has gears, like gears of a car.
Well, then this would be... Isn't... Wait, give me a sec. Gear 1, Gear 2, Gear 3...
Well,
Gear 4. So Gear 5 is his...
Yeah.
So then, I guess Gear 5 is the same as Ultra Instinct if you are drawing parallels. So then A should be Gear 4.
Rabbit, Gear 4! I mean, that's how they would say it. I mean, that's how they do say it.
I know. I watched the Japanese sub. What's up? Okay, so then we need to figure out what's right below that now. From something else, apparently.
Okay, what about Yu Yu Hakusho? What do they do? Well, And see, just has Spirit Gun. It doesn't really.
Yeah, that one doesn't really have that per se. Um,
If we did like a.
if we go to the Pokemon rankings, let's see. There's Ubers, then there's OU, then there's UU, then there's NU, and then there's NFE usually. So Ubers would be Ultra Instinct, OU would be Rabbit. So this would be underused. Underused rabbit. Underused rabbits. Which, I mean, kind of works. If they end up there, it means they didn't see their full potential.
Right. Let's see.
Oh, there's the bald eagle.
You and
Bald
your
eagle
Eagles.
just flew over. There are 7 of them! When you have 7 eagles flying around, it's hard not to notice.
Insert Sesame Street count reference here. I'm not doing it. I do it way too
No.
often.
No.
Let's see.
Well,
Okay.
it's your turn.
Yeah,
it's
I
your
know.
turn to figure something out.
Well, we're getting into the negative classes now. So
I mean, C's get degrees. Well, they say D's get degrees, but most of the time it's C's, not D's.
okay, let's just say
Sure.
they completed high school, but they don't really progress further from that.
Alright, that means D's means dropout rabbits.
Well, that would be.
D's are the dropouts.
Or. Okay, here I go.
Unopened can?
Yeah, they never even got a start. They're just the can on the shelf. I mean, most of these are media rabbits. We could say unopened can are rabbits that didn't really get a chance to express their full potential. Yay,
Alright.
nay? Unless you got a better
I
idea.
mean, it's not as fun as the other ones, but like I can't think of something better.
Well, what we could do is... Wait, can I not add?
It looks like you can only move them up and down.
Oh, wait, here we go.
Oh, add row below.
Let's do... Yeah. Well, no, let's do black. And then... Oh. I know, I don't want to... No. What was it? No. I can't remember what color it was.
Wasn't it green?
Maybe it
Which
was.
is weird, but I think it was green.
Alright.
Blue.
Yeah, it was green.
Alright.
Although that seems like the exact opposite order it should be.
I know, right?
Well, that should be greener then, wouldn't it?
Wait.
See? Like the...
The spectrum?
Yeah.
That's
That
correct.
one's fine.
Yeah.
I was saying the new one that you just made gray. Maybe it should be the next shade of green.
Now...
Even though it looks like it should be better if it's green.
Right, I know. The colors that we used, it feels like this should be reversed. It feels like this
Yeah.
one should be the green one, and this should be the red one. But, anyways.
Unless we go to purple. Because then purple would be supreme. But anyway.
Oh,
Anyways. Sure. Sent to the Shadow Realm.
Yep. Alright. Well, honestly, it gave me a little bit of energy trying to figure that out.
They participated in the Kami no Gamu.
Alright. Alright. So, we welcome anybody who is currently watching right now on our YouTube channel. We are doing, yes, a tier list. A return to a lovely concept that is easy on the mind, and yet frustrating to realize, you know, what you love and what you hate at the same time. With me today is our wonderful co-host, Aenir, aka The Void.
Yes.
The owner and proprietor of our Minecraft server.
See.
And recently, a manager of a question of the week on our Discord server.
We.
You sound so thrilled.
I'm tired, I warned you.
Alright, well, I'll do my best to carry us through this. I imagine that Cosmic might join us late in the show because he's at work right now, but it being Palm Sunday and him working in a deli and making fried chicken for everybody, and as nice as a day as it is, I don't know if he's going to be able to get off work early enough.
Oh no, that might explain why Shovel's not here too.
Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't understand what Palm Sunday is, it is the Sunday that is recognized right before Easter, and it can be just as festive as Easter itself.
It's also the start of Passover.
Mm-hmm. Yes. For those of you who don't know, read the book of the Bible that has Moses in it. Exodus. Read Exodus and you'll understand better. But granted, you have to read the whole Bible to really understand the concept of... But anyways, moving on. But yeah, we have rabbits. All of the animated variety. None of the reality variety.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Animated or fiction.
Correct. And sometimes both.
And sometimes movie.
Yep. Alright, these were placed in no particular order with the exception of the last one, but we'll get to that one when we finish. But, we have laid out our list here. The top one being the best rabbit that we love and cannot live without. The bottom one being the rabbit that we would prefer never to see again. And kind of a variation in between. So let's get right into it. The first one up, and I'll be putting these in the middle as a based reference, just to separate them from the list, but we will put them where they belong as we talk about them. But the first one, of course, is Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh. Yes, original name, I know. But Rabbit. Now, for those of you who don't know, Winnie the Pooh is a children's book story that was based back in the early 1900s, during the events of World War I, in fact. But guess what? Disney decided to grab it and, yes, make money off of it. But they did actually a pretty decent job with the show. They made it a movie and made a spin-off series and another movie and another movie and another movie and another spin-off series.
The original cartoon series that I watched in the 90s was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Also, Pooh was not as dumb in that one.
Mm-hmm. The intro of it was pretty catchy. Gotta get up, gotta get going, gonna meet a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Rabbit is a particular character, is a kind of an interesting character. Mostly, whenever you see them, they are tending to their garden, which is odd because normally you hear about rabbits destroying a garden. But no, Rabbit actually lives up to the expectation of being a perfectionist and a expert gardener.
And he's generally nice to people in a reluctant way.
Hmm. Unfortunately, he's terrorized as by a we'll call them the anti-hero in the sense to where a tiger-based character named Tigger constantly and unintentionally destroys Rabbit's garden time and time again.
Well, he also doesn't like when Pooh visits most of the time.
That is also true.
But I mean, Pooh does basically eat him out of house and home.
Hmm. Now, the story behind Winnie the Pooh series is that people have accepted the fact that each of the characters in the Winnie the Pooh series is a representative of some sort of mental disorder. Rabbit is represented by the spirit of OCD, which
And when Copper says that, he does not mean the way people say OCD to mean, oh, this bothers me a little bit.
mm-mm. No, go ahead.
He means the actual disorder.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, overcompensating disorder is a disorder where people can be triggered by certain sounds, appearances, or even at certain organization skills. Even if they come in contact with certain people a certain way, they prefer it to, okay, take perfectionism and turn it up to 11. The mind isn't satisfied until a certain criteria is met. Some people, let's just say this as an example, will, like, if they hear a certain noise, like a certain tap at the door, they want to hear, like, a certain number of taps.
Mm-hmm.
Even our, what did Brett say?
I have no idea. He probably was responding to the video he's watching.
Okay, it's not related to the conversation. Okay.
No, he can't hear you.
Oh,
I
right.
can't.
Okay. Even our co-host here does suffer from OCD at times.
Yeah, although my OCD-ness isn't the full-on disorder. I just have a few OCD tendencies, probably as a result of being ADHD and having an anxiety disorder, and being probably autistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the combination of traits results in me sometimes being very particular about certain things.
Yeah. The funny thing is that most of us 80s and early 90s kids were never tested for autism. We were just told, suck it up and keep going.
Yeah.
It didn't really become a thing until the late 90s, I believe. But anyways, moving on. But Rabbit as a whole isn't a mean character, like Aenir said. They don't intentionally want to be rude or crude. They want to be able to help people around them. But unfortunately, they do kind of lose sight at times, and they let their tendencies get the better of them. They can be irritated easily in certain situations.
Yep. And he also likes to get rid of the things that stress him out.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't usually work.
No. But as a whole, every time we've seen Rabbit, there's always been kind of a full journey. They start out with a certain situation, they deal with the conflict, and then the conflict is resolved. So I would say that Rabbit is a character that tries to grow, but in the series that they have, unfortunately, it kind of gets reset with each episode. Also, hello to whoever joined.
Lynx just joined, which means he can assist with some of this.
Yes, hello, Lynx.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, good. Okay. What's the tier list this time? Also, hello everybody. Hi.
We're doing the best rabbits.
Best animated rabbits.
Ah, best of noise. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're finishing up talking about Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
Okay. I have no thoughts because I barely remember Rabbit's character.
Fair
Okay.
enough. There'll be others that I'm sure that you may recognize. But for now, as far as Rabbit's whole character and growth and where they stand in the universe, I wouldn't say that they're the best character, but they do hold a lot of nostalgia for me. So I would probably put it as Rabbit Gear 4th. Near?
I was leaning more towards the underused rabbits.
Which
Because...
tier? Oh, sorry.
So, the red category is the top. The yellow that Rabbit was originally in is mid. Well, roughly mid. And then the bottom means worst.
Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry for interrupting you.
No,
You're
you're
good.
good. You're good.
But yeah, I think he belongs more in the underused. Personally, like, if it was possible to put him in between, that would probably be best for him specifically. Because, yeah, he does have a lot of nostalgia for me as well. I remember watching the cartoon and the episodes, and I had the first 2 movies. So, he does hold a place, but he doesn't grow enough
Oh,
to
bother.
really be high up there, in my opinion. Like, he pretty much is always going through the same struggles over and over again. And yes, from the beginning of an episode to the end, he learns a lesson, he gets over it, but it doesn't usually carry through. Like, it wasn't really...
Status quo.
Yeah.
So, I you know what? I'd be willing to leave Rabbit there for now.
Alright. He's definitely better than high school grad, though. Like, he's an expert gardener.
Yeah. We'll say that he is on the higher point of underused rabbits.
Okay.
Alright, next up is this
Snowball.
weird-looking creature.
Snowball. So
I've
he's...
not seen the movie, sorry.
You put him straight in underused. You should be in high school grad to start.
Well, right. Okay, for anybody who's familiar with Pixar has this habit of making movies that are... With Brett laughing in the background, it kind of throws me off.
I know, right? I'm tempted to mute myself when I'm not speaking. I might do that.
To be fair,
Why don't you participate, Mr. Bread Bunny?
I don't even know what you're doing.
We're doing a rabbit tier list. You belong on this list.
At the very least, all you have to do is turn in and mute your mic.
He can't hear you, but yeah.
Maybe he can
Oh,
sense
now
the
he'll be
spirit.
able to hear you.
There you go. Okay. Anyways, Pixar always does their films in the CG style. They have brought us Toy Story, they have brought us WALL-E, they have brought us... I don't think they did Moana. Did they do Moana?
I don't know if that was Disney and Pixar, if that was just Disney's end of the animation division.
Yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, Pixar did do this movie.
Yes.
And the title of the movie was called Pets. Pretty much, it's like you expect. It's pretty much seeing it from the pet's perspective after the owners leave. And we go on a story where we follow these pets, and they end up in this kind of underground society of abandoned pets. And guess who's in charge?
The Nui?
Damn it, Brett.
Anyways,
Snowball's in charge.
yeah, go ahead, Aenir.
Snowball is basically a unhinged, crazed bunny rabbit who is a tyrant, who is an ex-pet. He is convinced that all pets need to be free of their humans because their humans don't really care about them. and everyone's going to be abandoned by their humans someday. And the heroes of this story run the heck away from Snowball, and Snowball chases them, and it's a chaotic mess. And fun fact, Snowball gets adopted eventually.
Yep.
Also, I do want to clarify, Copper said the movie's name is Pets. The full name is The Secret Life of Pets.
Yes. Thank you for correcting me on that. I've only seen the movie once, and it was a few years ago, unfortunately. So my memory's a bit fuzzy on the... No, not that kind of fuzzy.
I got a question. Was this a Disney movie? Because
It was.
I thought it was Illumination because of the rabbit's design.
I don't think
Wait a minute.
Illumination worked on this one. Unless it... I mean, Pixar sometimes works independently.
I don't know,
Okay.
something about this design reeks of Illumination
Disney
to me.
still, but hold on.
Hold on. We might... See, I might
It
have
is
been wrong.
Illumination, actually.
Oh.
I called it! Woo!
Right?
Wow, you actually knew more than we did.
Because it has a
Well, he
cheap
recognized
corpo
animation
design to
style.
it.
Okay, I'm going to retract my previous statement. The Secret Life of Pets was done by Illumination, the same people that did Despicable Me.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Although I'd argue this was probably a better story than Minions.
I've never even seen that one, so I...
Why
Good.
would you argue?
But yeah,
Because some people are dedicated to Minions, Brett.
Yeah, but why would you argue that? It's just right.
Apple.
I haven't seen it, so I can't say.
Anyways. But we got the stories right, we just didn't get the makers right.
Yeah. Anyway, I really like that character, but I like him because he's unhinged. And actually, he does reappear in the sequel movie, but that's not here nor there.
Right.
It's a kind of brief appearance, just like as a little reminder, basically, that, oh yeah, Snowball got adopted. But he was a funny character. He's a funny character. I don't know.
Anything to add, Lynx?
I think Link said he didn't watch this one.
Okay. Based on what I can remember about him, he does make himself present in the film. He's not a character that you see and he's hanging out in the background. He gets a lot of front up screen time.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I'd be willing to put him probably in the lower part of underused Rabbits, almost high school grad.
Yeah, he's better than high school grad, but most of what makes him such a fun character is the fact that he's unhinged.
Fair enough.
And that's about it. That's like his entire character is. He's unhinged because he was betrayed by his human.
Fair enough. Alright. Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Now, this is a stop-motion film with our favorite classic characters, Wallace and Gromit. What happens is the premise of the story is there's too many rabbits in the local neighborhood, and Wallace and Gromit run a kind of pest control, a humane pest control business, and their job is to remove and relocate these pests. During the film, Wallace is in the midst of trying to start a diet, and Gromit is assisting the dog, of course. Gromit is the dog, Wallace is the human. Just to keep clarified. In case anybody doesn't know anything about Wallace and Gromit, which if you don't, then watch the films, you heathens. No, I'm kidding. But what happens is, Wallace, being the inventor that he is, tries to develop a machine to where he can transfer his thoughts into a rabbit to convince them to stop destroying people's gardens during the time of a big garden contest. In fact, what happens is the machine malfunctions and Wallace ends up being transformed into that, long story short, during the curse of a full moon.
Basically a were-rabbit.
Yep, just as the film implies.
Mm-hmm. Just for the meme of it, I will say Year 4.
Gear 4.
it is Walter's Gear 4 form.
Right. Well, let's discuss this a little bit.
Okay.
So, Wallace is already a very popular character. Being
I'd
transformed...
argue Gromit is better.
Yes. Gromit is actually the main character of it, even though he has no speaking lines. He's the silent protagonist. But when he's transformed into this rabbit, we see the typical, terrorizing destruction, blind destruction, in fact. He doesn't really know what he's doing while he's in this form. And then later on in the film, and yes, I know we're spoiling, this is spoilers alerts for anybody who has never seen the film. We see Wallace, or the were-rabbit, we'll just call it the were-rabbit, has this affection towards one of the female characters in the film, and, that gets him to kind of slow down his destruction. Most of the other people see him as a monster. The one female protagonist sees him as, a misunderstood beast. And then, of course, there's this antagonist with the toupee. Long story short, he eventually overcomes the curse. Granted, it does have its flaws in a storytelling, but as an animated character, it's pretty badass.
I mean, to be fair, he doesn't just become like a small, extremely buff rabbit.
Mm-mm.
He becomes a really big, extremely buff rabbit.
Exactly.
He becomes the chonk rabbit.
I was
Yes.
about to say the Chad rabbit, but whichever works.
The chunky Chad. The chunky Chabbit.
No. No. No.
You do not agree? You do not approve of that title?
No.
You
No.
I would agree with Lynx that as a character in whole, this one is just a hair below the top tier.
I hope that was no pun intended. Oh, jeez.
Anybody who didn't catch it, I'm not saying it again, and you have to rewatch it to be able to understand what you just heard. Because we can't just point out every single pun. We got to make some of these subtle.
Yeah, but that one was just so on the nose, I can't. Shut up, Brett.
Anyways, Aenir, what are your opinions on the level?
I kind of agree just because I always think transforming characters are cool. Shape-shifting, changeling, shapeshifters, just any kind of I transform into something badass. Also, in some cases, transform into something not badass, but adorable. So,
I
yeah.
mean, it is kind of cute, depending on how you look at it, I guess. I mean, it has
But very destructive
very destructive, yes.
in all the best ways. Well, worst if you're a gardener, but
But in a way, I mean, the gardeners being proud that they are, he kind of helps them deal with their pride in a sense at the end of the film. But people who are putting so much work into this stuff, they start having a bit too much pride. Wallace, being the simple-minded person were-rabbit that he is just removing the temptation for pride.
I mean, I'd argue that Wallace is kind of simple-minded in general, just a genius at the same time.
Wensleydale. Come on, Gromit. All right, Lynx. I mean, you gave us your level, but anything to add?
Don't tell me he AFK'd.
He AFK'd.
God damn it, Lynx.
Well, he already gave us his level. And
True.
Brett, what about you,
I
Brett?
have no strong opinion one way or the other.
You're gonna play what's effectively a were-rabbit and you don't care about a were-rabbit?
I haven't seen the movie. I raised my hand when Cameron was talking about that.
Well,
Not
guess
that I
what?
can see.
I'm probably going to... We've already watched the film, but we're going to watch it again on the 27th.
Oh, Lynx is back. Lynx,
Sorry.
are we moving the were-rabbit?
Where do we move it?
I'm asking, are we moving it?
No, I think Gear 4 is the best choice. It truly is Wallace Gear 4.
Okay.
Fair enough. So we got...
What? Oh, hey, before we move on, I just want to say, what too much cheese does to a motherfucker.
Oh, man. All right.
All of us should know this one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The White Rabbit of Alice in Wonderland. Or Mr. Rabbit, as Alice calls them.
And in some versions, the March Hare.
No, that one's coming up here in a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are two different characters. This is the kind of scatterbrained character. Also, I don't remember their eyes being so red like that, but apparently they were. They are an albino rabbit, apparently.
He's tripping balls. Why do you think he's late for a very important date?
Right. I mean...
I gotta mute myself for a few minutes. My mom just texted me about my dad having issues with something.
Okay, alright, go ahead.
Okay,
So-
I'll cover for you then, to
Yeah.
my best of my extent.
Well, when you say tripping balls, I have to think, he does have a big watch. Who else do we know has issues with drugs and has a big watch that they tend to wear around their neck?
I feel like I should be able to answer that, but currently I'm drawing a blank. Who else do we know who's like that?
Well, if it's not Snoopy from Charlie Drown... Charlie Drown.
Ah!
Charlie Drown! Yes, that
Yeah,
one.
okay.
Yeah. We have the Mega Republic. You do not condone the use of any kinds of drugs unless specifically prescribed by a medical professional. But
we're also not lawyers, so don't take anything we say seriously.
absolutely. Thank you, Lynx. I appreciate that. So, yeah. Anyways, moving on. Okay, throughout the film, the very first time that we see him is very early on in the film, and he is kind of the doorway to what we call Wonderland, which we later find out is actually named Underland. But
Mm-hmm.
Alice follows him throughout the film and then pretty much gives up on him later on. What we see is he's kind of the toadling manager, kind of announcer for the Queen of Hearts.
Right.
he is he is scatterbrained, and he does tend to be a bit of what would you say? Would you consider OCD?
I will use the word a bit of an idiot, but OCD works fine. It's more polite.
Yeah, there you go, there you go. I don't really see him as any kind of antagonist or protagonist. He is more of a background character, even though he plays an essential role in the film. I don't really see him. We don't really get to know his personality that well.
He triggers events, but he is otherwise irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's a key, but he's not a very detailed key. He's just pretty much that blank skeleton key you see that unlocks the door.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I have nostalgia for this movie. Like High School Grad Rabbit feels a little bit too low. I guess I'd put him between Rabbit and the Schizo Bunny. Like there, yeah.
Like
I
that.
think I put him there because he's an important figure in the fact that he triggers the events, but otherwise he's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, yeah, nostalgic value is like through the roof because, you know, a lot of us know and grew up with that character.
What do you think? Do you agree that he belongs in that balance, or?
It's pretty much the only reason that I'm keeping him up this high is for nostalgic value.
Yes, I agree. Because other than the beginning and the end, I think only because Alice ends up in his house and then she becomes big, and that's the only other time we see him, I believe.
Yeah. Later on in other films, he's given a slightly different characteristic during the CG films of Alice in Wonderland, but we still don't have a chance to like be one-on-one with him, so it's hard to move him up any higher on this list.
Right. No, I think he belongs there, and he's carried hard by nostalgia value, to be honest.
Yep. All right. Next up is the Nesquik Rabbit. Pretty much his name is Quickie.
Yes.
So, throughout most of our childhoods, we always saw those commercials with the Nesquik Rabbit.
Right?
We had lots of mascots that were animals growing up. But the Nesquik Rabbit, I mean, who else can come on the television and say, "Hey, you want this brown liquid I pulled out of the dirt?"
Yeah. Yeah. Hey kids, wanna sip of the good stuff?
Yeah. I don't really know who created them and why. I don't know what the correlation is between a rabbit and chocolate.
If I were to guess, it's because Bugs Bunny was still popular around the time the Quickie was created. That's the only explanation I have. Some kids like rabbits. There we go.
I guess. Yes, Mr. Sir, you remembered the catchphrase. Nobody but Nesquik. Thank you. Whoever's in the chat right now. So, it's not like we really know a lot about Nesquik or Quickie. I mean, he's been around for a while, but it's not like we've seen them in a series of them for themselves. They're just a commercial mascot. But it's like, hey kids, you want a healthy drink? Nesquik, chocolate milk, because it has all the vitamins and nutrients to help your bones and stuff grow. And I'm like, regular milk does too,
Yeah, but this tastes like chocolate and sugar. Do you want the good stuff or the boring stuff?
Right, right.
Yeah, it's difficult because at least Toucan Sam had those in the 2000s, those commercials, which were like tiny stories and they tied together. I don't know if you remember those.
I do, yeah.
Um, and he doesn't have the schizo personality of the Trix Rabbit. So, damn.
Mr. Sir says top tier.
I will put him on. I will put him on above Rabbit just because his design carries him hard too. I think his design is top notch. But other than that, he lacks substance.
He does, because if we had like a full, like, even if it was like a 15-minute episode of him to kind of get to know him a little better, I would probably move him up higher on the list. But, you know, he gets this high up on the list because, yes, chocolate milk is the bomb. I will not deny.
I was going to say the backstory of how the anti-chocolate army killed his parents, and thus he's sworn to life to give children chocolate milk.
Or it'd be like, I used to be a normal rabbit until some sort of, you know, scientist dumped a bunch of chocolate powder into my rabbit hole. And then suddenly a cow spilled a bunch of milk into the rabbit hole by knocking over a pail. And then the chemical concoction was shot with a bolt of lightning. And a bunch of radiation shot from the heavens into the rabbit hole. And then lava spewed up out of the rabbit hole. And thus I was born as Quickie, the Nesquik rabbit. Bringing health to children in a form of a glass of milk.
Have you ever played the NES game Blaster Master?
I have not.
The intro cutscene is kind of like that. A boy named Jason is just chilling with his pet frog Fred. Fred jumps out of the window, drinks radioactive substance, and becomes big and goes dig a hole. Jason follows him, and he underground finds a suit and a tank.
What?
Yes, there's no text, just images.
Wow. And yes, Mr. Sir did point out that there are other flavors other than chocolate, so
Yeah, but who cares about the strawberry flavor? Everybody knows Quickie because of the chocolate.
Right. I'm sorry, Mr. Sir, but me and Lynx kind of have the you know, the majority vote here. So unfortunately, that's as high up as we're gonna put him.
Yeah, cool design though.
Yeah. All right. The one-hit wonder.
Yes.
Roger Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Please. Sorry, I had to do the thing.
Yes.
Yes, Roger Rabbit was part of one of the first full real-time animation reality mix films of the 90s. We've had small skits before that had mixture of animation and reality, but this was a full animated film that included not only Looney Tunes characters, but Disney characters as well.
Yes, and it gave to the world Jessica Rabbit, changing the landscape forever.
Yep.
Yep.
This character is off the wall, absolutely crazy. I mean, he takes this poor, you know, real life actor who plays a detective and like puts him through all the paces of what it means to be a toon.
Yes, and then that actor became Super Mario after that.
That is true, yes. He's a good actor. He just got put in some really weird films.
Rest in peace, Bob Hoskins. But yeah, I think, considering the quality of the movie and everything around it, including Roger Rabbit himself, and even then the original book it was based on, I will put him personally, before I give any other thoughts, that he is either high on the Gear 4 or low on the Ultra. He's just a really, really good character. And the movie is top notch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically all my reasoning for my choices.
Honestly, I have to agree with you. I mean, as far as animation quality, his placement, his ability to be completely center stage on the movie for whenever he is on screen. I mean, his personality is one of a kind. He's not a
It's a
Looney
shame.
Tune, and he's not a Disney character.
And it's a shame precisely because of that Disney refuses to use him again.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of cameos.
Right. Which is crazy to think because Disney's buying out pretty much everybody they can.
Right? Even now, even after complaining Power Rangers didn't match well with Disney, now they're having the IP back soon enough, just completely divorced from the Japanese source material.
Wow.
And it's like what you guys complained that an action for boys did not match your Disney Princess Fairy Tale brand, and now here we are, they own Marvel. Holy shit! I hate this.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with you in terms of that. Mr. Sir says I would put him at underused because he needs more content. Well, underused is not just based on how much they were used, but it's also underused in terms of we needed to see more growth of those characters. Roger actually gave us enough of his personality in the film that he was portrayed in. And
are you talking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to say Ultra.
We're on Ultra actually.
Yeah.
Let's agreeing.
And I can talk. I agree with Copper, but also added to that, he has all this stuff from the book that didn't make it to the movie, and at least he had like an animated short, if I recall correctly. So I don't think he's underused. He's perfectly balanced.
Agreed. Just the fact that he only had one film and was able to have that much impact on kids and adults, I would say he did exactly what he set out to do.
I agree. Yeah, I do think he belongs there.
Anything to add, Ainir?
Nope, I enjoyed the Roger Rabbit movie, and I like the character, especially from the movie. And I have fond memories of watching it on VHS at my aunt's house when I was a kid and she was babysitting me, so.
Wow. Yeah, nope.
Yeah, VHS.
That's the sad thing, is that there are some kids today that don't even know or will ever see a VHS tape.
Or a VCR.
Yeah, I think regular show was the last bit of then popular with kids content that still used VHSs in story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but those characters were also around our age.
Yep.
All right, next up we have Do a Barrel Roll.
You're becoming more like your father.
I can't contribute on that character because I haven't played the game season.
I have. So, Peppy Hare, a former Starship pilot, eventually becomes an advisor and a kind of semi-retired pilot on the Star Fox series.
Mm-hmm.
He served with the original Star Fox, who was
James McLeod.
James McLeod, thank you.
Pigma Dengar and Peppy Hare. Did my internet die there?
think so.
Oh, no, I said James McLeod, Pigma Dengar, and Peppy Hare.
Yeah. It was just those three, I believe. Uh,
Mhm.
in the first Star Fox game, you do see Falco and Slippy, but that's not James McLeod. That's actually Fox McCloud. The story is progressed in Star Fox 64. It's the same story, but with more detail.
Yeah, Star Fox is trapped in a constant loop, in a constant loop of reboots of the same story.
At least until Crystal comes along.
And then we got again rebooted with Star Fox 64 3D, and then again with Star Fox Zero. Thanks, Nintendo. Very cool.
Oh yeah, there was a big fan base before Star Fox Adventures. Then there was an explosion of fans after Star Fox Adventures.
And then nobody bought the games.
No, nobody was interested in the games anymore. They were interested only in one particular character. At least a certain part of the fan base was. And I've already said her name.
Indeed. I hate it here.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyways, but focusing more on Peppy. Peppy is a very wise character in terms of combat and R-Wing handling. He is not a mechanic by any means, but he does have a lot of wisdom to share on the battlefield. Excuse me. Excuse me for just a sec.
Yeah, he's a wise mentor figure, basically. Especially since he's a wise mentor figure, especially because Fox becomes the leader of the new Star Fox, kind of like by nepotism for being James's son. So Peppy is there just to guide him through the ropes.
Yes. In terms of the strength of the character, not actual like physical strength, but in terms of where they stand on this list, I would probably put them in probably the lower part of Gear 4th.
Either lower Gear 4 or top underused, because Star Fox, I love the Star Fox games, but they're not the pinnacle of writing either.
No, they have a lot of fallbacks in several of their games. Star Fox 64 was definitely the best one that they ever made.
So much they keep remaking it.
Yeah,
we can't quit it in this hell.
Yeah, Star Fox Adventures, they tried a new approach. It kind of worked, but it wasn't polished enough.
I think it was a mixture of shifting from the N64 to GameCube, and then Microsoft buying Rare.
Yep. Yeah, the console wars, pretty much. Yeah. Anyways, next up we have a kind of a children's classic and a children's versions of Peter Rabbit. This was an animated movie and kind of a short series that lived on in, I believe, the early 90s. I didn't really
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember it.
I think I've only seen it once, many years ago, while changing channels, and so that was no. I think I saw it on shifting channels on Pluto TV one day, but it was just a passing view, so I know nothing else other than hey, I know those designs.
Yeah. Anybody who knows the story of Peter Cottontail knows that he pretty much is an adventurous rabbit who pretty much steals from a garden of the old farmer. Now, myself, I don't really know a lot about this character, but from what I do know, this was more of a children's point of view of the story. Based on what I know, I can't really give a lot of more details, and I can't really put it very high up on the list, unfortunately. Based on what I only see on the design, it's a cute style, it's a very traditional style. So I'd be willing to put it maybe at unopened can rabbits.
I cannot offer any insight or opinion.
Yeah, unfortunately, folks, there will be the rabbits that we almost know nothing of.
Yeah.
And Aenir
Not
is
every
already-
rabbit can be known. No, not every rabbit can be known or even knew.
Mr. Sir says... Oh, Mr. Sir has left. Thank you, Mr. Sir. Take care. Anyway, next up is another food mascot, the Trix Rabbit.
Schizo.
Is that their
Silly
name?
rabbit, tricks are for kids.
I love the commercials from the year 2000, 1999. Those were when he was the most schizo in his movements and facial expressions, like the Trix yogurt commercial. Those animations live rent free in my mind.
They have been around actually since the early 90s. I've actually looked it up that they had merchandise even as much as pillowcases in the early 40s, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Checks out. Yes.
Yep. For anybody who doesn't know, what do you live under, a rock?
I think they still make CGI versions of his commercials.
Ugh.
I've not seen commercials in ages. I wouldn't know.
I used to see commercials on TV, but that was before I moved and no longer had cable.
Yeah. This character, although a very plain-looking character, does hold a big place in both kids' and adults' hearts
I still
As-
like Trix yogurt.
as a high fructose and sugar-based cereal.
Hmm.
Get it? Because high amounts of sugar are bad for your heart.
Yes. Yes.
It didn't carry well. Anyways, moving on. This character, though we don't really get to see much of their personality outside of their obsession for tricks, they are probably one step below being the cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs parrot. They're not quite that crazy,
But he's pretty up there.
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he'll do practically anything to get the trick cereal from kids, apparently. Never from adults, which is kind of disturbing when you really think about it.
No,
Well,
wait.
keep in mind, it's Trix are for kids. If you're eating Trix as an adult, clearly you must be a kid.
I'm going to be the devil's avocado here, but in the Trix yogurt, he was about to buy a Trix yogurt in the park, but then the kids took it away from him because Trix are for kids.
Oh, so he was about to make a legitimate purchase.
Yes.
But there was an episode of that, actually. Yeah, I remember that. I mean, a commercial of that.
Interesting. I don't remember that. Ooh, okay. So it's not just him wanting tricks, it's the fact that kids don't let him have tricks. So who's
He
the real
lives-
antagonist? Who is the
He
real
lives in-
antagonist?
He lives in a society that hates him and spites him.
We
Brett
just
said the
opened,
kids, of course.
we've just
What?
opened up a can of worms right here, have we not? Okay, for years we were led to believe that the rabbit was the antagonist. No, my friends. We have just deduced that the rabbit is actually the good guy in this situation. The rabbit actually represents not only rabbits, but us adults. Guess what? We are the rabbit. We are the ones that continue to live in a society that says, oh, you're too old to have that. No.
Actually, Copper, I just realized something. Remember how we likened Quickie to Batman?
Yeah,
Or to superhero?
exactly.
So Trix is a Joker.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Guess what, people?
Society loves one. Society loves the brown rabbit, and society spites the fluffy white rabbit. There we go.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh,
rat
man.
and the clown.
I don't want to elaborate on that too much because it might be taken the wrong way. But
No. You see what I'm trying to get at.
yeah, I do. I do see what you're getting at. So guess what, people? Tricks are not for kids.
Or at least not only for them.
No. We've been lied to all these years. Turns out kids don't deserve tricks. They don't. You little snot-nosed brats don't deserve anything. You get Wheaties. We'll take the tricks.
Indeed, we have the money to poison ourselves if we want to.
Exactly. Get a job, you snot-nosed brats. We want the colorful, sugary cereal. You guys can have the wheat thins. I mean, granted, we'll need the wheat thins later for fiber, but you guys don't get anything now.
Okay.
Anyways, so as far as the Tricks Rabbit, I would say that as much as we've seen of him, as long as he's been around, I would put him on the lowest part of, Rabbit Gear 4th, or the highest point of underused rabbits.
Put him on the highest of underused. Have them both mortal enemies, be side by side.
I wouldn't call them mortal enemies.
Well, no, because that's the joke. Of the
Oh, he's giving them the thumbs up.
Okay. But yeah, that's where I put them.
Man. All right, now it's time for
Baneri.
the Pokemon.
That looks like Dawn's Baneri based on the thumbnail.
All right, I don't know much about this one. You guys are going to have to take the lead.
Baneri is a Gen 4 Pokemon, and it is adorable and jumps around, and it's very shy normally. Although Dawn's Baneri has also got a tough streak. Brett, what do you have to add?
I like his design. I'd put him on bottom Gear 4.
That specific Baneri is a girl.
Okay.
Just saying, that specific Baneri is a girl.
By the way, I am sorry to say that shortly I'll have to hop off. Get it? Hop off. But I want to give my thank you very much. I want to give my final thought on the next one real quick. The next one is Lopunny, and just to get my vote before I leave, top Ultra Instinct, and I refuse to elaborate any further. Thank you very much.
I will let Aenir give their opinion on the matter first.
Yeah, sorry for rushing that one.
Ultra Instinct. It's just furry bait.
Top Ultra Instinct. But you guys keep discussing Bonari and Lopunny. I'm so sorry for having to leave this early.
It's all right. We thank you for your time here. You have been awesome, Lynx. I appreciate you providing what you could.
Thank you, Copper. I had a lot of fun. I hope next time I have a little more time on my side for this.
Of course.
Take care. I'll see you around, guys. Take care. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks,
Later,
Lynx.
Lynx. I'll hop in your stream after we're done.
Yeah, don't worry. See ya.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Aenir.
no, we're not putting Lopunny in Ultra Instinct because that's just leading into the furry bait aspect of it.
Pretty much.
And also, Lopunny is actually very violent. Its Pokedex entries say that is a very aggressive Pokemon that will beat the crap out of you, and not in a good way.
I mean, some people.
Shut up, Brett.
Some people, that's not a downside.
Shut up, Brett.
Yeah, we already know, Brett. We already know.
That said, it is an awesome design, despite the fact that it leans into a Playboy bunny.
Yeah.
So I do have to say it's on the same tier as Baniri. And they're also part of the same evolutionary line. So
Yep.
they go together.
Yeah, I'm gonna put them on the lower part just for the fact of what they represent in the fandom now.
Yeah, well,
It's not their fault.
Combustion, somehow Vaporeon. I don't even know where the hell that came from.
The stupid copy pasta.
There are a lot of Pokemon that are... pretty much every Pokemon that's humanoid looking in any way, shape, or form ends up in the fandom in that way.
And quite a few that aren't.
Yeah. Like Vespiquen.
I was kind of dreading that one.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to go into it any further, but...
I mean, if you curated the list, just forget that one.
I mean, most of the
Look
list
at all
was
of
pre-made. I did get him to take the rest of a
Yeah.
particular Pokemon's line off there, because they were all referring to the same particular trainer's Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
John's Baniri never evolved, so it's not the same Pokemon.
I was halfway considering not including this one, but as well known as it is, and the fact that we did need a Pokemon on this list, I had to unfortunately.
They
give
were
in.
on the list, but no one knows about those two, really.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. E. Aster Bunny
I
from
don't remember that character.
The Guardians. Animated film of all of the spirits of our beloved holidays, and for some reason the Tooth Fairy.
I never got a chance to watch that one.
I think we watched it earlier last year, but anyways, this pretty much is the representative of, you guessed it, Easter in the film. We get to see a portion of their world, and it's pretty much a bunch of spring-based weather rabbit holes where a bunch of other smaller rabbits are constantly working on painting eggs, as you may have guessed it. This character is surprisingly Australian. Yeah, that little thing on their back is in fact a boomerang. They do go with the Australian stereotype. But I'm not entirely sure what the backstory is behind that. Why they decided to go Australian on this. Unless, for some reason, Australia plays a big role in the fact that we use a bunny for the representative of Easter. They are a very tall creature. They are not small. They are about 6-7 feet tall. And they use worldwide rabbit holes to get from one side of the planet to the next. They are a very well-skilled fighter in the film, and they do their best to hold their own. As a whole, as a character, I mean, it's Easter Bunny. It's specifically meant to represent the Easter Bunny. So it's hard to say anything more about them because there isn't really a sequel. And, I mean, the only way you can really understand is if you watch the film. But I would say I'd be willing to put them, based on their design, on the lower part of underused rabbits. And Aenir and Brett
Based on what you said, I'll have to agree.
Okay. Alright. Next up is one that I'm not very familiar with, but I know of them. Is the two kid characters of Max and Ruby. Or Ruby and Max, as the theme song portrays.
I feel like I've seen that at some point, but I don't remember it.
These two are brother and sister. Ruby, being a slightly older sibling, is able to function as kind of the guardian guide of pretty much, doing older sibling stuff with their younger brother, Max, who isn't able to talk. And they get into all sort of fun, preschool, kindergarten level shenanigans. this was a series that ran in the late 90s and early 2000s, and I think it might even still be running in a sense, but I don't really know much of it myself. It's pretty much the level of, like I said, pre-K, kindergarten, up to I think maybe like 6 or 7 years old level of intelligence that I would say is portrayed in the show. Not saying it's a dumb show, but it's not a show really meant for kids or meant for adolescents, teenagers, etc. It's pretty much, like I said, it's for kids. It's for little young kids. But it's definitely better than Peppa Pig from what I remember. Peppa Pig can burn in hell. But as for what it does, I mean, it is kind of a show to help kids understand small tasks and understanding respect for their siblings and their elders. It does have that concept in the show. So again, I'd be willing to put them on the underused rabbits, but I'm going to put them above this rabbit because they're actually trying to teach something. But I'm afraid they're not better than the Tricks Rabbit, unfortunately.
Mhm.
All right, next up is Max. From
I don't recognize him.
1 second here.
I think it was Sam and Max.
Sam and Max?
Yeah, Sam and Max, the detective agency.
Okay, apparently Brett knew that.
Yeah.
Only that much.
Yeah.
Apparently neither Brett or I have seen this character.
Yeah, Sam and Max is more of a... It started out as like a kind of teenager kind of thing, but it grew to be more something adult-based, based on the nostalgia that it held, apparently. Max is more of the chaotic factor in the show. He works with a detective called Sam. I don't know if he has another name or not, but Sam is a dog that kind of has the look of Scruff McGruff the crime dog. I think that's what he was based on. Anybody who doesn't remember Scruff McGruff the crime dog, used to be
I remember him.
It was part of a PSA thing. But yeah, Sam and Max is a kind of a non-serious, a very cynical, comical, animated duo that is a detective agency. They had a series that ran with the same crowd as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Totally Cool Spies, even Ben 10, I believe. It kind of ran in that group a little bit. But as I said, he's more of that chaotic factor where he tends to go outside the box too often, and it ends up causing more problems than helping. Now, if I was a heavy watcher of the show, I would have more of an opinion on it. But unfortunately, I do not. So I'd probably leave him at high school grad rabbit. Any opinions?
Fair enough. I don't have much of an opinion on this one since I'm not familiar with the character.
All right, next up is Oswald.
I don't think I've ever actually got to watch Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Oswald is one of the first successful animated characters made by Walt Disney. Obviously, you can tell that Mickey Mouse had a lot of influence from this character design. Oswald as himself, based on what he has, he doesn't have a very large place in Disney history, but they have tried to revive him once or twice. It's more or less nostalgia that where he exists as an iconic character rather than an actual like personality-based character. There is no real personality in this character. It's just a simple character doing simple tasks in a simple animated show. So I can't really say I move him up very high up on this list. Any opinions?
I think he's fine.
All right. This is another one I'm kind of not looking forward to. For obvious reasons.
If Lynx was still here, he probably would have had a lot of input on that, because apparently there was a controversy that made a lot of Latin America not like furries because of this character. But, in general, I think she's underused, because she doesn't appear enough in pretty much any of the series she's in. Even though she's a badass bunny, she's strong, she's strong-willed, and she likes to show that she's just as good as anyone else. Like, I'd argue she's like Looney Tunes' version of a feminist, but not like ultra feminist, just like the basic idea of feminism, which is that women can do anything that men can do, for the most part.
Yeah.
And she kind of exemplifies that, especially when she appeared in Space Jam, which is where this artwork comes from. Because in Space Jam, she felt obligated to try out to be on the basketball team, and she showed that she was far more skilled and knew what the hell she was doing than pretty much any of the male cast, with the exception of Michael Jordan.
Yes.
So, I think she belongs in underused, because she simply just doesn't get enough screen time showing who she is and what she does.
I'm willing to
And
move her up
that's
on the...
my input.
Yeah. I'd be willing to move her up to the highest point of underused. Okay. For anyone who doesn't know, this was actually not her only appearance in the Looney Tunes series. True, she does appear in the Space Jam movies, but she also appears in the reanimated versions of the Looney Tunes series. But the Looney Tunes modern, we're going to call it the modern animated TV series, or streaming series, whatever you want to call it, is very... It includes a lot of postmodern references. And it's not very appealing. If you was to compare the classic Looney Tunes series with this series, there would be no correlation.
I will say in later series she does get more screen time.
She does?
But still not enough.
It doesn't even feel like the same character anymore, though. The character that we see in Space
really.
Jam is not the same one that we see in this reproducted series, reanimated series, to be more modern. It doesn't look like the same character, doesn't feel like the same character. I'd be willing to say they're two completely different personas. The one that we see
Might be better to just say it's a AU.
The character that we see in the Space Jam film is very empowered, but as everybody knows, even those who aren't in the furry fandom, she's over-sexualized in the first film.
Yes, but she did also exemplify that she was, not better than the male characters, but that was one of the first clear depictions of her being intelligent and strong instead of just being a side character.
Exactly. She doesn't take the backstage.
Let's see. I think it was... No, that's not the one. Where is it? There is a... I'm trying to find the show that she was in that portrayed her well. It's not that one. It might have been New Looney Tunes. No. The Looney Tunes show? Let's see, is it the Looney Tunes show? Yeah. In the Looney Tunes show, we got to see some depictions of her that portrayed her similar to the same personality as in Space Jam. The only thing is they made her crazy and ditzy. Like, at first she seems a bit more like that, and then she's not.
Yeah. Yeah, but
There's so many Looney Tunes shows, and some of them depict her the way that she was in Space Jam, and then others don't, and it's hard to find the ones that show her the way she was meant to be presented.
Right. The character design obviously led to a lot of controversy. And, I mean, it's made her an icon. And nobody's ever going to forget about her.
Especially in Latin America, apparently.
Yes. We need to hear the story of that when Lynx gets back later next time.
Yeah, I could probably ask him to hop in voice chat and explain it at some point.
Right. I mean, not right now. I know he's busy with other things.
Yeah, he's streaming right now.
But we'll go ahead and put a pin in that, and we'll get back to Lola Bunny. But for now, I'd be willing to put her on the highest point of underused Rabbits. All right.
Yeah, I agree.
This one is specifically chosen by our co-host, Aenir.
Yes. So this book series I remember from when I was in elementary school, which was, of course, the 90s. I didn't get to read all of the entries in the series, but one stands out, and it was Bunnicula, the celery stalks at midnight. So the titular character, Bunnicula, is a pet bunny that the other protagonist, human, brought home. Or I think it was actually their mom got it for them. But regardless, this bunny was brought home, and from the get-go, now I'm trying to remember if it was a cat or a dog. Give me one sec.
All right.
But from the get-go, the other pet in the house, okay. There were two characters that were in the book I remember. And that was the dog, who is older, and then an orange tabby cat. Now, the tabby cat is obsessed with the rabbit. It's obsessed with the bunny. The thing is, at first, he's jealous because the bunny's getting more attention than him. Which, I mean, cats, no offense, but that's a stereotype. A well-earned stereotype in some cases, since cats are known to destroy things when they don't get their way. More often than dogs. Don't get me wrong, I love cats. I also love dogs. I love pretty much all the furry animals, and reptiles, and a bunch of other things, but certain stereotypes exist for a reason. Right. Anyway, so Chester's all jealous of the bunny and thinks he's a threat. And then he becomes more and more paranoid because this bunny is getting out and wandering the house at night. Until finally he catches this bunny sucking the color out of vegetables. He's draining the color from the vegetables become Link, and the humans in the house, especially the mom, she goes in the fridge, she's like, oh, I'm gonna cook up, I don't know, carrots or celery, in the case of the celery stalks at midnight. She's going to cook, and it's like, what happened to our celery? It was fine when I bought it yesterday. So, hence the name Bunnicula. Bunnicula is a vampire bunny rabbit, but his vampiric tendencies are only towards vegetables, and it is just a cute, funny little story for kids. It's definitely oriented towards like second and third grade reading level, I think, but it was still a cute little story to read and has a short series of books in it. And the character Chester the cat is just paranoid in general, but he becomes more paranoid with Bunny. He does become friends with Bunnicula eventually, but he's paranoid of the bunny. And the old dog in the house just doesn't care, but apparently he's the narrator of the story. He's narrating what's been going on amongst the animals in the house. And yeah, that's all there is to it. It's a fun little kids book series.
All right. Where would you put it on this list?
I mean, Vampire Bunny definitely puts it in the 4th area by default, but then it's like, I'm an adult now, so if I went back and read it now, I probably wouldn't remotely enjoy it as much. But for who it was intended for, which is little kids, like elementary school kids, younger elementary school kids, I'd say it still belongs in Gear 4th for them, because it's a cute story. And it's got multiple books, so you don't just see it once, you see them more than once.
I have no objections from what you've said about them. Yeah. Original idea,
come on,
original
drinking the
concept.
color from vegetables.
Exactly.
Brett, do you have any input based on what I said?
Sounds about right.
Okay. Apparently he agrees that bunnies draining vegetables of their color belongs at 4th.
It also sounds vaguely familiar, but
I mean, you're only a year and 2/3 of a year younger than me. Something like that. So you might have read it at some point.
maybe.
All right,
All right.
next up we have Anais. I think I said that name right. From the Wacky World of Gumball.
That was Wonderful World.
Wonderful.
No, Amazing World.
Amazing
World of Gumball.
Okay, we both got it
There we
wrong.
go.
Amazing World.
Yep.
Yes, Amazing World of Gumball, yes. She is the younger sister to Gumball, Gumball Watterson, and she comes off as more intelligent than Gumball in most cases. But she is also a little kid, too, and it shows a lot that she is not the strongest. But when it comes to her little brother, she ain't taking no shit.
Yeah. So I had suggested adding this to the list because she's a very popular character, and even though I wasn't a huge fan of Gumball, I did actually see enough episodes to be able to weigh in. And yes, she is definitely smarter than her brothers. Probably not as smart as her mom, but definitely smarter than her brothers.
Yep.
Is that a high bar, though? From what I remember, it really isn't.
I mean, her brothers are average kids.
Okay.
Her dad is a complete dimwit. A very well-meaning dimwit, but a dimwit, which makes it more ironic that she is the same color and species as her dad. But I'd say her mom is the brightest of the family. And I think they imply that and actually outright say it in many episodes.
Oh, yeah. It's made very
But
clear.
she takes after her mom. She's taken after her mom.
Mhm. In the household, she's definitely the second most intelligent.
And that's only because she's too young to be the smartest yet.
Yep.
She needs that adult experience to become the smartest. She might surpass her mom when that happens, though.
Very possible. Her as
But
a
yeah,
character, I feel like she could probably go maybe between these two. I don't know. I feel like maybe higher. What do you think?
I think she actually is higher, because she appears in almost every single episode, too. Like, Gumball and Darwin are the two, like, they show up in every episode. But Anais is in most of them. And while we don't necessarily see her evolving as a character, because she's not the main character, she still is an important character. She isn't the main character, but she is a main supporting character. Without her, a lot of episodes wouldn't have any driver for their stories. So you kind of need her, she's important, and she is really damn smart.
Oh, yes.
Really damn smart for her age.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes manipulative.
Yep. I won't deny that. Speaking of manipulative, and speaking of people and rabbits that are slightly evil,
I wouldn't say he's evil.
slightly, just ever so slightly.
Eh.
He is not exactly a hero, but he's not exactly a villain.
Eh.
Angel.
I don't see any evil in him.
Yeah, Angel the bunny from My Little Pony Generation 4 Friendship is Magic. A not really a pet, but more or less a household tenant, or
Yeah, I'd say most of the animals are closer to tenants for her.
yeah. Angel shares a cottage with the one timid character who is in touch with animals, Fluttershy. And multiple times throughout the episode, he tends to assert dominance over Fluttershy, but after a while he realizes he can't get away with it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's because Fluttershy finally realizes that she needs to stand her ground sometimes and not let people walk over her.
Mm-hmm.
But that bunny knows what's going on. Like, he's always aware of what is going on in Fluttershy's house. And in his, like, in the immediate circle. Like, if someone comes to Fluttershy's house, and Angel is there at the time, he knows what's happening.
Oh yeah, he is fully sentient.
Fully sentient and not afraid to complain or give his input, even if Fluttershy don't want it.
Mm-hmm. And spoiler alert for anybody who has never seen this show. Again, spoiler alert. There actually is an episode where him and Fluttershy, guess what? Freaky Friday. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Angel actually gets a speaking role through Fluttershy's body. And we get to learn a little bit more about their perspective. But I'm not going to tell you what's in the episode. Because you need to watch it for yourselves, viewers.
If they haven't, they really should. That was a great series.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anyway, I just want to add that also, Angel's a bit of a badass. Like, there are times when you see him basically suiting up like he's gonna go, like, all commando on someone's ass.
Mm-hmm.
So, badass bunny.
I don't want to put him at Ultra Instinct Rabbit just for the fact that he tossed a salad at Fluttershy. And, you know, we all love Fluttershy.
He was still pretty badass, though, so he definitely gets a high rank.
I'd be willing to put him just below the Were-Rabbit.
Yeah, sure.
I mean...
I'm sorry, I'm picturing the scene when he threw that salad bowl now.
Alright, next up is our rabbit magician from the land of Spyro.
Well, one of the lands of Spyro.
Yes. Not exactly the Dragon Realm. She didn't start in the Dragon Realm, but she went to the Dragon Realm. Anyways, Aenir, you got this one.
All right, so this particular thumbnail of Bianca, I think, is actually from the Spyro Reignited trilogy
Yep.
from the third game, which is Spyro Year of the Dragon, which is when she first appeared. She is actually a sorceress in training, and when we first meet her, she's actually training under the bad guy. She was under the big bad evil guy, or in this case, big bad evil girl, as
Mm-hmm.
the sorceress is. But anyway. So in the beginning, she's basically letting the sorceress walk all over her, and towards the end of the story, that particular story, she kind of has a change of heart and realizes, oh man, I'm on the side of wrong here. I thought I was doing good, but this is actually bad. So she becomes an unlikely ally. And she reappears in later games. The two that I am familiar with her appearing in were Spyro Season of Fire and Spyro Season of Ice, which were both for Game Boy Advance.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, since they decided not to attempt to do actual voice acting on those games, and because they use the actual models, which look horrible for thumbnails in those
Mm-hmm.
games, it looks terrible, and she's not as compelling a character at that point.
Yeah. They
But
Banjo-Kazooied the text and talking.
yeah, it was not good, which is unfortunate because she was a pretty cool character. And once she started using her spells for good, she's honestly a really nice person. And apparently she's a really good girlfriend to the character she ends up with. But yeah,
Was it the cheetah?
yes, it was Hunter.
Yep.
Spoilers?
Yeah, that was spoilers, but I mean this whole thing is spoilers, so whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, the thing is, since she only just appeared in the third game from the original trilogy, and then they kind of screwed up with future games, I'd say she's an underused at best. Like, she could have been a much stronger character and done a lot more if we just got another game like Year of the Dragon, and not those Game Boy Advance games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Game Boy Advance games, if we got those stories on PS1 or PS2 with those characters, could have been great.
Oh yeah.
But instead, we got the Game Boy Advance ones, which weren't very good. And then the next, I think the first PS2 title was it the Shadow one, or was it, I think it was the Hero's Tale one, and I don't think she even really has a role in there. Let me double check. I don't remember. The fact that I don't remember her either means she had very small role, or it was just she was an NPC that just stood there and didn't do anything.
Right.
Let's see. Is
I-
Bianca in that one? I'm not seeing any mentions of Bianca, so if she is there, it shouldn't do much.
Fair enough. So I think we'll leave her on the higher side of underused.
Yeah, like, she does have a character arc in the first game she appears. It's just not a big enough one, and then we didn't really get much of her later. Like, we did, but we didn't.
She had a high point when she first appeared, and then just kind of trailed off after that.
Well, I mean, the whole series trailed off after that. Like,
Yeah.
we had high expectations for Hero's Tale, and that ended up not. I mean, it had some cool gameplay, but it didn't feel like Spyro anymore. Like, not
No.
like the original trilogy games at all.
No, all we had was Spyro, and it was a mix of a bunch of other. Anyways,
It wasn't the same.
next up is Haru from Beastars. This interesting little character is not as innocent as she seems. This
Nope.
is a rabbit that on the surface she works in the school garden. She is a high school student with other characters of the Beastar universe. She is very open in her relationship status, in a sense that she has, in fact,
All right. I think Copper's trying to pussyfoot around this. She is involved in adult content type stuff. There you go, Copper.
yes, she is fucked.
Yes. And we know it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. The very first time that we see her interact with our main and... I'm not really sure if we call him a protagonist, but we're going to call him the protagonist of this particular group. The first time that he interacts with Legoshi, our main wolf character, you actually hear her inner voice talking about, oh, well, I've never been with a carnivore before.
Yep.
So, there you go. There's the immediate implications.
Which, unfortunately, is also built off a stereotype, because rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more to her than just that. Like,
Yes.
we do get to see she is a person beyond that stereotypical introduction.
Yes. We're just merely saying that this character is not as innocent as she appears. But she does get character development.
Yes.
She is bullied by her peers. By peers, I mean other rabbits. Because...
Yeah, largely for what she does.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the thing we just spoke about.
Yeah. Apparently, in the Society of Rabbits, she is rare, but not being rare. Because there is another rabbit in the series, which we're not going to include her in this list, because we don't know enough about her to really include her in here.
Unfortunately.
She is a half-black, half-white rabbit who is extremely rare and considered of the highest quality, apparently.
Yeah, so rabbits in this universe have... They assess their quality, like their breeding, and basically their worthiness to be alive on their breeding. So this particular character, the reason she fell into stereotypes has a bit to do with that. She has some very deep-seated inferiority issues.
Mm-hmm.
To put it bluntly.
Yeah.
There's more to it than that, but that's the bluntest way to put it.
As a character, she actually is quite small compared to most of the other characters. And at times we do see a height disadvantage for most of the people that she interacts with. But
yeah,
it's
like
also...
she has to jump.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But it's also because of the struggle she puts herself through, and that she is put through, that she tries to come off as a strong individual as well. She does experience fear, but she also tries to stand her ground a lot, too.
Mm-hmm. Even when she's terrified, she tries to stand up for herself.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you who have not watched the series, this is a spoiler alert. But in the near end of Season 1 of Beastars, Haru is taken captive by a group of lions. Kind of a criminal syndicate, if you will. And they pretty much have her stripped down, and they're pretty much going to eat her, in this sense. And during that time, she is afraid, but there are moments where she does let her fear get the best of her, and there's moments where she tries not to show her fear. Granted, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Beastars really does go into the psychological aspects of the various characters a lot.
Oh yes.
But continue.
Yeah. What Zootopia did, Beastars heightens by showing true animal instincts and interactions. Because in the world of Zootopia, and granted we're going to get to that here in just a little bit, but I'm going to get on the overall concept of it. You have carnivores and you have pretty much, prey. In Beastars, the society is coexistent in the sense to where carnivores and non-carnivores, or, well, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Herbivores.
Herbivores, thank you.
Like Brett just said.
Thank you. Carnivores and herbivores living together. But there's always that part of the society that can't accept that, the carnivores being, and it's kind of an underground society to where carnivores are still eating meat.
So, something to point out about Beastars compared to Zootopia. Beastars actually more closely aligns with what Zootopia's original story was going to be. If you've ever seen information about the original story, it was going to lean more into the carnivores being forced to repress themselves. Whereas Beastars, the carnivores are repressing themselves. Because in civil society, you can't be eating your friends.
Nope.
Shut up, Brett. So, yeah.
But, I mean, we could be talking about this for a great deal of time. But hopefully, for those of you listening, have a better understanding of where Haru's personalities and traits come from in the society that she lives in. Based on that, and what we know, Haru is a very well-known character. She does have a lot of personality traits that grow, and she, as herself, does appear a lot in the show. I would say that, based on those traits and what we know, I'm torn between either the fourth gear rabbit or just under Lola Bunny.
I think she's a fourth gear rabbit. Honestly, I would have put her even higher than that, but at the same time, she is perfect because she's so flawed. But she's not perfect in the sense of she can do no wrong. Like, Roger Rabbit, he ended up there partly because his character, yeah, it had a story arc, but his character doesn't fundamentally change. His personality is the same all along. He's still the funny guy all along.
Yep.
And that's just who he's supposed to be. Like, that is the epitome of his character. Versus Haru can never be that kind of perfect representative of her own character traits. Because she's a mix of good and bad. She is not... Basically, you can think of Roger Rabbit as pure innocence. Like, he is an adult. He's aware of adult stuff. He does have character arcs and stuff. But you can't improve upon him. Because he's already there. He is what he is. Haru's a character that can never reach that. Because she's too complex. She mirrors real, live humans, real, live people. And we can't say real, live people are perfect.
Agreed.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, Mr. Bread Bunny.
Uh-huh.
With a speech impediment that makes him sound like he has an accent.
See, even my flaws are pluses.
But it's still a flaw.
But it's a plus.
Yeah. Speaking of bread bunny, yeah, I didn't put bunny bread mascot on here because there is hardly any representation behind that thing. They aren't well known enough to even be included on this list.
I didn't honestly know there even was one. I'm just making
Yep.
fun of Brett because when you missay his name, you end up saying bread most of the time.
No, there actually was a very short-lived commercial in the early 90s of That's What I Said, Bunny Bread.
Okay, now that sounds familiar, but I don't remember the commercial.
That's okay. The important thing is, it's like Cinco de Mayo. As long as you can remember it, it will live on. Anyways, moving
What
on.
if you can't remember it?
Buster Baxter from the Arthur series.
Brett, have you watched Arthur?
I think I saw some, but
Probably seen more than me then, because I think I was watching it before I became self-aware.
Every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet has an original wonder beat. And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. We could learn to laugh and play and get along with each other.
I'm
Anyways.
sorry, Copper. When you said, and I said, say hey, my brain went, and I say hey.
yes, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Apparently me and Brett went the same place that time.
Wait, did you go to the Yogscast version or the He-Man version?
He-Man.
Yogscast.
I watched it on the Cartoon Network when they posted the freaking music video on there.
Oh, dear.
It might have been the Yogscast version.
Anyway.
Oh, I got pinged. No pinged.
Oh, Cosmic's around, apparently.
Oh. Oh, okay, it was on the question of the week thing. Anyways, Buster Baxter, the kind of the jokester of the group, of Arthur's little friendship group. He is a little bit unsure of, himself sometimes. He does have a bit of, shall we say, he questions a little bit where his place is. He does try to joke a little bit, make others around him feel better about themselves. And he isn't the smartest. In terms of his grades, he is a little bit lackluster. He's not dumb. He's not, like, straight up dumb. He just doesn't want to put the effort in a lot of times. He's very scatterbrained. But he is a good friend to Arthur, who is our main character of the show. After a while, when the show progresses, he unfortunately develops asthma, and this changes his entire world. Because now he is forced to use an inhaler, but in the episode of when he is shown having to use this inhaler, people are just now learning about what asthma really is. They're like, oh, it's a contagious disease. Oh, he's gonna die. And then we get this nice informative, it's almost a PSA. We get this nice informative episode that teaches kids about what asthma really does to the body. Which I think was great, especially considering the first time I seen it, I was about maybe 10 years old. And it was fun to learn about it because actually we didn't have anybody who had asthma in our class.
When I was a kid, I know I watched PBS shows when I was little, but I don't remember much of it. So I'm assuming I was just too young to really remember most things. But when I was watching I think it was a countdown video, maybe, they mentioned that what the hell, Brett? The weirdo just nommed my hair. Anyway,
Hey, keep that between you two. Sheesh. Oh
what's
my.
weird?
Get a room, you people.
He's weird. But in the countdown thing I was watching, they mentioned that there was an episode where there was a fire, and each of the different characters was affected differently, and apparently, this character, what was his name again?
This one?
Yeah.
Buster Baxter.
Okay. Apparently, Buster ended up with some pretty bad PTSD from it in his own way. That took a while for him to get over. Like, most of the characters got PTSD from it.
Wow.
So, you remember an episode where you learned about asthma, which is a positive experience, like learning about it. There was another episode that tackled the very dark reality of PTSD, and Baxter was one of the ones affected by it.
Yep. I
So-
kind of do remember that a little bit, but not enough in detail. But yeah. Arthur was definitely a good show for kids transitioning into the teenage years. And honestly, I think I could watch it now without really blinking an eye. I mean, it's a good show. It's a good series. I wouldn't think twice about it in terms of how old you're supposed to be to watch it. Except for the episode that is really dark in the sense to where Arthur hits his sister and is like, he hits her. We don't really know how hard, but it's taken into a really dark turn to where I'm getting off topic. Anyways, the series Arthur, it has a lot of good episodes in the sense that it teaches kids and teenagers about reality and how easily it sets into this fun little animated world of these animal-like characters. I mean, they've had episodes about lice, asthma, and like you said, PTSD.
Oh man, I'm looking at the wiki trying to remember the name of the PTSD episode, and you just mentioned the lice. Buster was one of the only characters who didn't get the lice.
Yep.
And the reason for that is messed up. But continue.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that a show like this actually was as good as it was, considering what the okay, during this era in animation, we had Sesame Street that had, these fun puppet-like animal creatures. We also had Franklin the turtle, who was also in the same basic area of this show. But problem is, they always aired Franklin at such a weird time frame that I never got to see it. They had Little Big Town, which I didn't really get to see much of either because it was actually in the later years. It's actually, I think it was more recent. Or is it Little Big Town? It's a Happy Town? Anyways, in the era of animated kids shows, Arthur was definitely the most mature for the PBS lineup for what it had in it. I'd be willing to say that Buster, based on his character and his personality traits, and the growth that he had in the show, that I'd be willing to put him probably just below Haru.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I'm the only one who has any clear enough opinions on it, so we'll have to leave him there for now. And for anybody watching this, if you have any objections to the list that we have, feel free to comment below. If you like and subscribe, I don't care. Do whatever you want on that. I'm not gonna do the thing where you say, "Oh, make sure to like and subscribe," even though I just said it.
Yeah, you just defeated your own point.
I pretty much shot myself in the foot on that one. Anyways, all right, one of the most iconic rabbit characters in the animated universe. Bugs Bunny.
He gets Ultra Instinct just because of how comfortable he is cross-dressing.
Honestly, I can't disagree with that one. There's really no reason to talk too much about this character because everybody knows this character. But for the memes, the lulz, okay, this guy has been around since the 40s. He was
Also, if you say animated Rabbit, Bugs is going to be the first thing a lot of people think of.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
He is number 1 on a lot of lists. Granted, his most recent stuff is awful, but if you disregard the past, I'm going to say 10 years, if you disregard the past 10 years of animation that he's been put through, everything before that is pretty darn good. Like you said, he is a comfortable cross-dresser. He has never been just outright an evil villain.
No, he most of the time he's just doing his own thing and someone else comes and disturbs him.
Yep. He always ones up Daffy Duck, no matter what situation he's put in. There are a couple times where he comes close to failing, in a sense. But he is a rabbit that always finds a way to come out on top.
Again, I just feel he belongs up there because he's so comfortable with cross-dressing. Normalize cross-dressing!
Yep.
Come on, we have a character that everybody knows who has been doing it since his conception.
Yep.
Come on. And he's funny about it.
Yep. The earliest cross-dressing that anyone can remember is the one opera shorts, the one opera short that he's in, where he is in fact dressed as a lady Viking warrior.
Oh my god, I've seen that one so many times because they used to play reruns of the Looney Tunes cartoons in the 90s. So I'd see it all the time.
Mm-hmm. He has fooled Elmer Fudd so many times with a cross-dressing scene.
I think he also tricked Sam once or twice, too.
Sam, not so much, but yes.
Once or twice.
Apparently, Elmer Fudd is easily misled by lipstick, a wig, and a dress.
I mean, he must have a type, especially since he still has fur.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Elmer
Anyway.
Fudd is secret furry.
Yep. We're gonna move on from that because like we said, Bugs Bunny requires very little discussion. Okay, the next one up is a lesser known mascot, Caramel, from the old style Cadbury commercials. Okay, if you think Lola Bunny was sexualized, this one is on a different level. This one has straight up bedroom eyes the entire commercial, and tries to appeal to certain other characters in
my.
Her short.
I just looked at some of the images of her.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You weren't kidding.
Some of us remember the old Orangina commercials.
Jeez.
This is on par with some of those. Yes. This was a very short-lived advertisement. We'll call it scheme, as it didn't really advertise the chocolate itself. At least it didn't feel like it was advertising the chocolate itself. But yes, her personality is very one note. It's pretty much that it's on par with that scantily clad dressed female that walks into the detective's office and pretty much plays the part of seduction and helplessness in a sense. But I'm not
It definitely probably woke quite a few people to their interest in the fandom.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's going to be a few people that, if watching this, were probably going to look her up.
Yeah, I had to look her up. This like once I saw a few gifs of it, it was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh
Okay.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So, based on her placement in animation, although animated, well, her personality and her concept are something that shouldn't even have existed in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, artists that animated her. I'm sorry that you
I
were
mean,
put
they
through that.
probably had fun doing the animations because she really moves. Like, there's a lot of curves and stuff there.
Yeah, pretty much on par with Minerva Mink. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways, moving on.
we're tiny, we're toony, we're absolutely loony.
Yes. Okay. Tiny Toon Adventures. Go, Aenir.
Oh, I just wanted to sing the little opening.
Oh, okay, all right.
I can talk about them a little bit.
Okay.
So, give me a sec to remember their names.
Buster and Babs.
Oh, thank you. I knew the one was Babs. I was trying to remember the blue one's name. Alright, so, honestly, the implication is that Buster and Babs are actually... I don't remember... I think they're the niece and nephew of, Lola and Bugs. Opposite way around, but no, yeah, correct way around. Like they're not their kids. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be the niece and nephew.
Yes.
But so the whole premise of the series is that they basically are doing their own Looney Tunes skits, but they're learning how to be Looney Tunes. So they're kind of like mini episodes. Like each of their episodes are shorter than the actual Looney Tunes episodes. Like Looney Tunes, there's like 2 episodes per block. You could expect to see shorter clips with each of the characters per block for like I think 3 to 5 in some cases.
Yep.
And with Buster and Babs,
There you go.
Buster tends to have storylines that are more like Bugs Bunny stuff, which means he also interacts with the young counterparts of the same characters that Bugs would interact with. On the other hand, Babs tends to get put more into teaching role kind of episodes, where she'll be going over a concept and emphasizing it, or having silly antics with other female characters most of the time. They kind of separated the genders in that particular cartoon. Like, they're all learning together, but their clips usually are separated outside of the, hey, we're doing the Tiny Toons show kind of thing. The downside to that is actually because Tiny Toons doesn't run remotely as long and wasn't around remotely as long as the original Looney Tunes, we don't really get as much about either of these characters. We don't know as much about either either Babs or Buster, which is a bit of a shame. Because outside of them emulating their heroes, which are their uncle and aunt, I believe, there's not much else going on there. Like, they're funny. They're basically doing the same exact shtick, though. So, it's nothing new. It's just shorter, more bite-size, and kind of oriented towards younger, like, kids, because the characters are kids. That's about it. Copper, if you have more input.
Throughout the series, we do see Babs have more emotional outbursts in terms of she shows a lot more anger. Buster is usually more of the cool, collected type, but he does make mistakes. In terms of like intelligence, I'd say they're about on par.
Yeah.
But yes, being the 90s, as it were, there was definitely more separation of genders here. In terms of female and male perspectives, as Babs is put more into a typical school female position, or atypical, as it were. Buster is more universal in terms of his placement in the Tiny Toons universe, where he gets to explore both, I guess, cynical and non-cynical situations. But I don't really have much more to add. Where would you put them on this list, Daniel?
Well, they appear in every single episode, but at the same time, I don't think the show went that long to begin with. Is there anywhere that says how long it actually went through? Well, they only had 3 seasons, so if that tells you anything, it means they probably only played for a year, for like maybe 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But weren't they 24 episode seasons?
Even then, you can easily fit 24 episodes in a year, Brett.
Yeah, but that's 3 seasons of 24 is a lot different from like Madden 8 episodes.
I'm seeing a 5-year ban for voice actors for Buster, so it probably only ran for 5 years officially. And they just played reruns when I was old enough to remember them. But
It's not a short time.
that is a short time for something Looney Tunes. Brett, the original Looney Tunes was still being played reruns in the 90s. And we're still getting new Looney Tunes cartoons with the adult characters. But we haven't really seen much of the Tiny Toons again. I think it mentions there's one other series that used them, and it was short-lived. So, yeah, I can't really put them in underused because, again, they showed up in every episode, but also the series wasn't, like... no, they don't fit there either. I think we're gonna have to leave them in high school grad. Because it feels like they never really got a chance to take off because they pushed that. Let's separate these characters into their own gender role kind of focused stories. And the stories were shorter than Looney Tunes.
Mm-hmm.
And the skits they were doing were literally, let's copy Looney Tunes and make it bite-sized for children. Meanwhile, Looney Tunes was still rerunning in blocks that children were watching.
Yep.
So, like, it feels more like it failed to launch almost. Like, it's not like it didn't do anything. They made 5 years in the original one, and I don't have an issue with it existing. It was on early enough that I got to watch it a lot when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I was in pre-K, I'd see it all the time. But it doesn't belong in underused 4th or Ultra, because it wasn't great. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't really good either. It was just kind of eh.
Right.
Like, do you have a different memory of it? Because yeah.
For as short-lived as they were, I mean, it's hard for them to really compare to the original Looney Tunes. Because, like you said, it's a copy of Looney Tunes putting them into a school zone.
Yeah, and it was shorter episodes too.
Yeah, so I don't have any qualms with putting them here.
All right.
All right, next up is the GameStop Rabbit. First off, GameStop.
I don't hate GameStop, but they did have, like, they had a heyday, and then they kind of fell by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
But Buck was a pretty cool mascot. Especially since they made an actual game for him.
They did?
You didn't know about that? That's half the reason I mentioned him.
No. I don't remember that at all.
It was for iOS and Google Play, I believe. Let me see if I can find it. Bunny... What was it called? iOS game. I know it was on iOS. Was it only on iOS? I could have sworn it was on Google Play as well. Mobile game. Coin of Destiny, that was the name. Book and the Coin of Destiny. I will link it to you once I find it.
I feel like I've heard that before.
It was a fun little game. I mean, it wasn't like anything fantastic, but it was a side scroller with like your typical obstacles.
Huh.
And he was passing through various time periods, kinda. Well, maybe not time periods per se, but you had different settings. Like one part was a pirate ship, another part was the Wild West. I think it starts in a forest, another part's a castle. And it's just a side scroller, and trying to remember if it was like continuously moves right or if it was one where you could move left and right. I can't remember that part. But you had to collect coins, and it actually wasn't like super easy either. Like it wasn't hard, but it wasn't like the easiest game ever. I'll post a screenshot. That's a screenshot from the game. It's posted in the voice channel. But,
I see it.
Yeah.
Huh.
It was a collection game. You just collected coins. You're supposed to try to get all the coins.
Ah, I gotcha.
It was pretty good. Sadly, once the version of iOS that it was on, and I really could have sworn it was also on Google Play, but maybe I'm misremembering. They never updated it to later versions. So once we moved on to an entirely new iOS, it was gone. You couldn't play it anymore.
Well,
which kind of stunk. A lot of games that happened to.
What's it called? What's his name again?
Buck. B-U-C-K. Like, Buck wasn't really a mascot that they showed off all the time. Like, it's not like the Trix Rabbit or Nesquik Bunny or anything like that. But they did have him as a mascot, and they did make a game for him, and they even advertised that they made the game on TV commercials. Like, they didn't hide it. Just apparently, most people didn't notice.
No. Yeah, I completely missed it. Granted, this was probably around the time that I was probably on a Halo craze.
Maybe. Like I said, it was definitely on iOS, so. But, because he's not really that memorable, and the biggest thing that ever happened to him was this game, he's probably in the high school grad category. Like, he probably would have to stay there. Like, we don't really know much about him outside of this game.
He was kind of the one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
Blue Bunny, Rabbit, ice cream.
Never had it. Never
This
heard
is-
of it.
Really?
You've heard of it, Brett?
Yeah. Decent ice cream.
Apparently Brett's heard of it.
Yep. Interesting enough, they actually used a gray rabbit. But in terms of the
Well,
actual ice
is it-
cream, what?
Isn't that breed of rabbit called like blue something?
I think so, but I didn't look it up to see. In terms of it actual having like a place,
Vienna Blue?
Hmm?
Vienna Blue?
Is that what it is?
Brett was asking what it's called. I think it's the Vienna Blue.
Huh.
But anyway.
Anyways, it doesn't have a huge place in the Rabbit universe, but it deserves an honorable mention for the fact that it does represent a very well-known ice cream, and it even has its name in the product it represents, Blue Bunny. So I think it deserves a mention, but unfortunately, I can't move it very high up on the list.
Oh, I should have mentioned Annie's. Because you include a
Not all products.
I know, but I'll just
And-
think
Tell you what,
sure.
if you have an honorable mention, go ahead and say it.
Alright, an honorable mention would be the Annie's Bunny Rabbit, which is on the label. Like, their whole thing is their logo has a bunny rabbit. I don't know if they're named after the rabbit or if the rabbit is just a cute little thing, but they have a cute little bunny. And last time I opened one of their mac and cheese pouches, when I opened up the cheese powder pouch, I noticed that they actually have pictures of bunnies printed on it now.
Wow.
So, yeah, honorable mention. Annie's the brand. They do mac and cheese and I think just cheese in general.
Fair
I
enough.
think you can get cheese that's branded Annie's. But yeah, they do mac and cheese.
All right, Judy Hopps, Zootopia. I'm giving her top tier.
Yeah, I'm gonna quote what I said in Question of the Week about her. So, I love her personality and how she consistently worked to defy societal expectations. She's a good role model, and I kind of wish Zootopia came out when I was still in elementary school, because she's definitely a character I would have tried to emulate, minus the police aspect. So, there you go. Excellent role model character.
Yep. Really very little introduction on this one because if you're watching this, obviously you already know. Judy Hopps, Zootopia.
Awesome bunny character.
Awesome bunny character. Pretty much always wanted to be a cop. Became a cop. Got put in small time roles. But wanted to do more. Ends up doing way more than she expected. And pretty much achieves her goal in becoming the cop she always wanted to be. With the Fox.
Yes. She's an awesome role model. She's a great role model. Forget the fact that she's a cop. We know there's a lot of wonky shit going on with cops in society, especially nowadays. But ignoring the fact that it was specifically cop, the fact that she had a goal, achieved her goal, and threw societal expectations by the wayside along the way to achieving her goal, that is a fucking great role model. Amazing role model.
Next up, Vanilla
We
and
got
Cream.
both of them.
Yeah,
Yep.
I figured I'd just put them together. Vanilla and Cream of the Sonic series. Mother and daughter. More or less, Vanilla isn't represented too much in the series. More or less, it's Cream's perspective because she's kind of the go-to friend, pal of Sonic.
So I think she's actually closest to Amy
Yes.
out of the characters in the main cast. I'm pretty sure she's closest to Amy. Like, she knows Sonic, she's friendly with Tails, but she's closest to Amy.
Hold on a sec. Let me see if I can ping Reaper. Because she needs to be in here. She is a big Sonic fan.
Oh. Well, I'm just gonna give my input on Vanilla real quick. Most of my interaction with Vanilla was, well, not interaction, but most of what I know about Vanilla is from a few Archie comic panels and her, how she appeared in Sonic X. So, mostly, she's a nice mom. She respects that Cream has to get involved in dangerous stuff. Sometimes. But she doesn't like it. Like, in the world that they come from, it's kind of hard to avoid the dangerous stuff. But she's still a caring mother and kind of wishes Cream didn't have to go off and do dangerous stuff sometimes. And that's pretty much the limits of her personality. She's nice. That's about it.
I can't really add anything to that.
Cream, on the other hand, though, Cream is a sweetheart. Like, I picked her as one of mine as well. She's a sweetheart. Despite all the crap that goes on around her, how dangerous the world around her is, and, I mean, in Sonic X, she literally got sent to another world, which must have been terrifying for her and Cheese. Cheese is her little friend who is a Chow.
Yep.
Despite how terrifying it must have been, and everything that goes on around her in that world, she still somehow stays innocent and sweet. Like, most kids, you throw them into a dangerous situation enough times, they're gonna get messed up. Something's gonna go wrong psychologically when you do that to a kid too many times. She's... They say, I think the phrase is, if you were talking to a boy, you'd say he's a champ, so she's a champ. She pushes through everything, and she's still kind. There's been situations where she's gotten characters to open up who otherwise wouldn't have. So, she's a good kid.
There you go.
Very good kid.
Well, unfortunately, Reaper didn't answer my summons, so I'll leave it up to you.
Kinda didn't think she would. Fourth. She's not underused. She appears in a lot of Sonic media, and we have an idea of her characterization. The only thing we don't really see is her... I mean, we do see her growing up personality-wise to a degree, but we haven't seen her grow up as far as I know, unless there's a comic where they show Cream in the future.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's some fandom stuff out there that...
Yeah, but that's fandom.
Right.
I'm wondering if there's anything canonically where we see her as an adult. But I don't think we do.
Canonically, I don't think so. Alright. It keeps going and going and going. That's right, the Energizer Bunny. The pink sunglass drum-carrying bunny that is, in fact, a mechanical toy that is running, guess what, on Energizer batteries. He's a cool dude, or they are a cool rabbit, I should say, as we never really identify. But anyways, they have no speaking lines. It's more or less just narrated. But we always see them in the same sense to where they stand by and behind their product. No personality.
Well, the idea behind this bunny is that because he runs on the batteries and we never see him stop running, Energizer batteries must last forever. They don't actually last forever, but the bunny is somehow lasting forever on them.
Yep.
He's a very recognizable mascot for a brand.
Yep. And I'd be willing to say that based on that, we're going Gear 4th on this.
Sure.
He just doesn't
He's been
stop.
around since I was a kid.
Yep. And he will be here long after we're gone because guess what? He keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, the only thing that would put a stop to him is if Energizer decides they need a new mascot. But I mean, brand recognition, they've had the same mascot for at least 30 years. Don't think they're changing it anytime soon.
They would screw it up if they redesigned him.
They have technically redesigned him, but it was literally just making a CGI version of the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it looks slightly better quality.
Yeah.
That's about it.
All right.
They can put him in space now.
Wow.
Oh man, I
This
recognize the character.
Is the March Hare.
Oh, okay. That's the Why did I misremember the White Rabbit as the March Hare?
Start at the beginning. A very
Wherever we
merry
put the
birthday
White
to you.
Rabbit, wherever we put the White Rabbit, I think the March Hare belongs there too.
I think
Because
he's earned a couple places above the White Rabbit.
yeah, but he's still in the same part of the tier.
Yes.
Especially since it's the same version. It's from the same movie.
It is. But we have more personality behind this character, even if it is mad.
That's true.
I mean, sure, he eats plates. Oh, wait, no, that was the Mad Hatter.
A very merry on birthday to you. To me?
She's stark raving mad.
Yeah.
Alright, this goes into folklore. The jackalope.
Top.
Brett just said top. I don't know if you heard him.
I heard a little bit, yes.
Top tier.
He said it quietly.
Yeah, for those of you watching, we're almost done. We just got a few more.
I agree with top, though, because the mythical jackalope is just an awesome idea. Come on, a rabbit, well, technically a hare, with antlers? Like, come on.
Look, it's not open to also.
We have that too!
And yes, people, they exist. I believe they
Definitely
exist.
exist. We have actual taxidermy proof of it.
Yes. You know what? I'll say Bigfoot doesn't exist. You know, the abominable snowman doesn't exist, but jackalopes, those exist.
Absolutely. I mean,
Alright.
how do you explain the taxidermies of it?
Right?
Come on.
All right. I know.
You really think they'd go through the trouble of separating the antlers from a deer and putting it on a rabbit? Like, come on. That's too much work.
Right. And speaking of which, what if we took that one step further and added wings to that? What do we have then?
Handfuls.
We get a Whoppertinger! Fun fact! They say if you drink too much, you can see these.
Really?
Yeah, you just gotta imbibe a lot of beer.
All right. Is this gonna go behind this guy too, or does this not have a strong enough
It
standing?
has to. No, it has to. They're up there. They're awesome.
All right. Jax from the Incredible Circus, or whatever.
The Amazing Digital Circus.
Amazing Digital Circus. Thank you. I'm not familiar enough with the series myself, even though I've watched it.
There's only a few episodes so far, but so far what we know of Jax is that he is a jerk. That's the summary of his personality. But he's a very chill jerk. So he likes the other thing is he really embraces the idea of a trickster bunny, like pulling a rabbit out of your hat kind of stuff. Like, he just likes to cause chaos. But he's very, like, just chill and low-key about it. Like, where's so-and-so? Oh, them? I left him back there with the such-and-such monster. You what? That's the kind of character we're dealing with right here.
Yeah, and apparently this bad boy attitude has made a lot of people go and fall for him. I don't know if it's an outburst of Stockholm syndrome or what, but apparently there's a lot of people, both men, women, you name it, anything in between, outside of the box. There is a large fan base for this character.
I'm not gonna lie, he's currently my favorite character from that show as well.
His voice actor, same being for Angel Dust from the series of Has Been Hotel.
I didn't notice that.
Yep.
Huh. Maybe that's why I like Angel Dust too.
Yeah, his alpha personality is it definitely stands out in the show amongst the other characters. So I wouldn't
describe it as alpha per se, but he is a dick.
Yeah. I would say there, but that's just me. Also, welcome, Reaper.
You said you needed me for something?
Yes.
I mean, we can adjust it based on what Reaper says.
Alright, there is one particular set of rabbit characters that I think you need a chance to weigh in on. And this is the only character you need to weigh in on. But
Okay.
Vanilla and Cream.
Vanilla and Cream. Why do you need my opinion on this? Alright, I actually need context. What is this board?
This is a tier list of all animated rabbits. Well, okay.
And we're saying who's the best.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say it depends on it when it comes to Cream and them. It depends on the series, but if we're going with Sonic X, it was okay. So it's in a good place.
Okay, based on their personalities.
Personalities?
Aenir gave a lot of insight saying of how kind Cream is and how much of a motherly figure Vanilla was. Anything to add to that?
Not necessarily. They're not wrong. I like to say that Cream takes a lot of aspects of Fluttershy a little bit.
Actually, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Even down to the whisper voice. While her mom does, yes, have a lot of motherly aspects. If I remember at one point, she can be scary sometimes.
Yeah, I think one of the times she got mad, she was upset that Cream kept getting involved in dangerous stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, no, I think it's in a good spot in there, in the tier list.
Alright. Yeah, sorry to bother you. I know you might be doing some stuff right now, but I figured with these two particular characters, as much of a Sonic fan as you are, I wanted to give you a chance to kind of weigh in on this.
I think it's funny you think I'm a big Sonic fan. I'm just a passerby Sonic fan. I don't know that much.
Well, you're one of the bigger Sonic fans in our group.
My
Yeah,
first persona was a Sonic character.
I only made the Sonic characters because my friend was getting into Sonic and they wanted me into it for a little bit, so I was like, okay, that's fine. I mean, if anything, I'm more into Transformers than anything.
Well, we don't have a transforming rabbit on. Well, hold on. Let me rephrase that. We don't have a
I
robotic.
tried to find a Zoid rabbit, but I couldn't think of one.
Oh. Though faces I do recognize here is, but obviously Bugs Bunny, Judy. Forgot her name from Beastars.
Haru.
Yeah, the rabbit from My Little Pony. I forgot
Danger.
half these characters' names, but I recognize them. Yeah.
Yep.
Mac and Ruby. I hated that series when I was a kid.
Oh, you have some opinions on that?
I don't know why. I just didn't like it growing up for some reason. I have a few shows that, like, when I was a kid, I would have rather eaten dirt than watched them for some reason.
Oh, okay, that
That's
helps
how I
us.
felt about Doug.
Huh?
Sorry, it's getting late, so I was taking pills. I said that's how I felt about Doug.
Yeah. Max the rabbit though, I fucking loved him. They were silly.
Fair enough.
But Ruby, you have very low opinions of.
Ruby, yeah. I don't know. It's, again, this is just from my childhood mindset. I didn't like them for some reason.
Okay, that actually helps. I can move them down the list a little more then.
Yeah. I liked Jax from yeah, Digital Circuits. I liked him. It was okay. I'm amazed Watership Down rabbits aren't in here either.
I didn't put them in here for the fact of I didn't think anybody would know, and I don't really know anything about them.
That's fair. There was like a whole, like, I think Netflix series on them for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it because again, animal person.
Yeah. But isn't it, like, really dark and gory?
No, actually. The book is. But, yeah, because I read the book. But, the actual series, not so much. Watership Down is more of a tragedy story, I think, than anything. There's not a lot of blood.
Huh.
Yeah, but parents still were up in arms because of the concept. Especially when it first came out.
Parents.
Yeah.
I agree with that, Brett. Parents ruined a lot of good things.
Yeah, that is true. Trust me, I will say this up front. My grandmother, who had custody of me for a very long time, would not let me watch iCarly because she said that it made me act like an ass.
What?
I mean, my friend's mom, when I was a kid, wouldn't even let her watch Winx Club unless I was over.
Yeah, I was not allowed to watch certain shows because my grandmother said that it was either A, inappropriate for me, or B, it made me act a certain way. Then again, keep in mind, my grandmother was narcissistic and she said that about everything.
Okay, you shouldn't
Like,
be allowed to watch Sesame Street because those characters aren't real.
Well, I mean, I was allowed to watch, like, cartoons and stuff, but there were certain shows that, for some reason, because she didn't like it, she thought that I shouldn't watch it. There was a year period where we weren't allowed to watch, SpongeBob for some fucking reason. We were, like, 15. And then another time, for a long time, she would not let us watch shows like Ed, Edd and Eddy, Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, that sucks. Those are some really good shows.
Fairly Odd Parents. She hated that one, just as much as iCarly.
Is it because there's no intelligence in the series? I don't understand.
I'm gonna assume.
Understand if it was like when everything turned completely random, but those weren't random. They were still stories, and in many cases, there were actually lessons.
I mean, the only one that could make sense in this sense is if they didn't allow you to watch Ren and Stimpy. Yes, I understand. That is very
I don't even know
crude
what
adult
that is.
humor.
I don't know what that is, but I remember like
That
her
just tells
reason
me how
for
old you are.
iCarly was the same with Ed and Eddie. She said it made me and my brother act out, and I'm like, no, it didn't. It was
No.
a stupid TV show.
Society made you act out, not a cartoon series.
I
No,
grew up on that stuff, and I'm fairly well adjusted, and never really got in trouble as a kid.
Yeah, no, again, keep in mind, grandmother, not a great person. Hell, all it took was me going outside for more than 5 minutes, and I acted out for no reason. Because she let me do that, and now I feel like I am obligated to act certain ways. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
You kicked a rock? You're acting out.
That's what it felt like. But yeah, no, there was just a lot of shows I wasn't allowed to watch because of it. So... shit, that also reminds me, I'm amazed that I don't see Animaniacs, because I think they're rabbits too, aren't they?
I thought
Uh,
they were like weird cat things.
yeah, they
They have an entire song where they joke about what they are, and it's never actually confirmed
It's
of any.
never
I'm
confirmed.
pretty sure Dot looks more like a cat.
I guess so.
That's part of the song, yes.
Yeah,
Okay, this entire what are we?
this,
And
this
it's-
tier list doesn't cover everything.
Yeah, I know. Oh no, I see an Arthur character. You better
Mhm.
drop that down real fast.
What, you don't like Buster?
I did not like Arthur. I still don't like Arthur.
Okay, because of your opinion, I gotta drop him down a little bit. Okay,
Yeah, other than that,
Probably-
the list looks okay.
I feel like you're probably more of a Bianca person than a Buster person.
Yeah, yeah, that looks like it was from Legend of Spyro?
Yep.
That particular icon is from Reignited. But yes, she appeared in Spyro Year of the Dragon originally.
I have not played that game specifically, but I have played a couple of the games, so I can't really give much of an opinion.
She was great in the game she came out in terms of she actually has a arc. But
Yeah.
the later games kind of just... Like, she has a part in the stories, but the later games that have her in them kind of suck.
I will say the Winnie the Pooh rabbit, you can probably move that one up. I loved Winnie the Pooh as a kid. And I think he was like one of my favorite art styles of the series.
I'll move it up to here.
Yeah. Okay, I think the rest looks fine. I don't mind it.
All right, we still have. We think we have a few left over. All right. All right, I'm gonna mispronounce this one. Ainir?
Hang on. I have to make sure I have the title exactly correct.
I'm going to mispronounce it.
Okay. The Rabbit of Shit.
You're gonna get-
Carabanog from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I switched 2 letters that first try, that's why it turned into shit.
That was probably one of the funnier parts.
Oh man.
it's got the teeth. Look at the size of the bones.
Speaking of, the movie is free on YouTube right now.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Although I have it on DVD, and I actually have my DVDs. I might get to watch it.
But yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes. Was the rabbit scene on there because I legit
Likewise.
was overreacting until the rabbit transformed. And I was like, oh.
It didn't transform, it leapt like 50 feet in the air!
it was practically flying.
And all the blood! It fit into to someone and all the fake blood goes gushing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you have it in the right spot. That was like one of the most memorable scenes in the whole damn movie.
Oh, for sure. Other than the "'tis but a scratch."
Yeah. Oh, and the you must bring me a shrubbery.
Or, the famous meme of the Frenchman.
Oh yeah.
I spit in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelled of elderberries.
Elderberries isn't a bad smell.
I think they were
You.
calling him old.
Yeah, fair.
I think they just called him an old man.
Yeah. But it's still a good smell.
Says you.
Not old man smell, but elderberries definitely.
Not old man smell.
We're knights of the round table.
Oh, jeez.
Right.
I don't want to sing that.
I don't think I know the rest of the characters I saw.
The holy hand grenade.
That's part of the same scene with the bunny.
Yep. Yeah, it takes a holy hand grenade to take out this rabbit.
Yeah.
That's one fucked up rabbit.
Yeah. And it was, like I said, they put it in Minecraft, however temporarily. Like, it's that much of a meme.
I'm pretty sure it's still in Minecraft, it's just command only.
Is it command only now?
Oh, should we incorporate that if we can?
What?
The rabbit in our little extravagant thing that's going to be happening next month.
Maybe. We'll see.
I mean, I know
And
a
Brett's right,
location.
it's
we could put it.
commands only now, but it is still in the game apparently.
Interesting.
Shh. I thought we were gonna avoid killing the players.
No, I don't have to kill them.
What happened to no promises, though?
We'll see. We'll discuss that a different night.
Right.
If I made any promises, my fingers were crossed.
Alright.
All right.
I don't think I've seen that character yet.
All right, yeah, we got 4 left. This
Do
is.
you know which arc she's in?
She is in the Land of Wano arc.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen her yet.
This is Carrot. Now, she is a character in One Piece who is very friendly, but also a great fighter. She is of the Mink tribe. But
Mink.
Mink. Yes.
Okay. It sounded like you said meek.
Mink. M-I-N-K. Like ferrets.
Yes.
But not many people are very interested in this form. She has what's called a Sulong form, which all minks are able to do. And she transforms into a
really cool, badass rabbit. I remember her now.
Yes.
I haven't gotten to that arc in story, but I did read about the minks and their Sulong forms.
She is cute in this form, but she becomes outright sexy in her Sulong form. So, yeah, she has a very strong role in One Piece.
Damn, I forgot how hot she is in Sulong.
Oh, yeah. There is no denying that. Honestly, in terms of hotness, I would put her above Lola Bunny.
Way above. Damn. With the only exception being the fact that One Piece has that weird thing with extremely long limbs.
Oh, yeah.
But, damn.
Yeah. Again, this form, she is cute.
Stop.
Sorry, what'd you say, Green?
Oh, I think that's just simply the art style for them is lanky
Oh yeah,
limb.
it is, but it's even more emphasized when she's in Sulong form.
Yep. Hold
Fair.
on. Let me see if I can. Let's see.
Like most of their legs are already way too long. Like in terms of proportions, like it's not real world proportions at all. It's like 1.5 times longer than that, so add 50% more.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's like all legs. Which, I mean, makes kinda sense when you're a rabbit, but still. Nah, that
Yeah.
doesn't quite show off the fact that the legs are...
No, I'm looking for something right now to see if I can. This is not. Oh wait, no. Kind
I'm looking
of.
in the
That is not...
No,
That's not what she looks like.
that's not quite the same style, but
I'll get an image of it.
yeah, you're gonna have to
me-
pull one up, I think.
Just, I can get it straight off the wiki for Reaper. But yeah, keep talking. I'm gonna get the image. I'm gonna get the image.
She is a very innocent role character. She doesn't really. She knows what's right from wrong, but she isn't like corrupted by greed or power. She's just in it for the fun.
Yeah. I could see what you mean by extra lanky, but it kind of makes sense for her design.
I mean, she is a rabbit, and rabbits do have long legs when they're fully extended, but they didn't make her feet longer. They made both parts of her humanoid leg longer. So, I don't know how I feel about that aspect, but damn is she hot!
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of cute. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, that's the lesbo in me right there.
I mean, I'm Pan, so...
I'm Ace,
L.
and even I find that attractive.
Damn it!
I'm a lesbo ace! What the fuck you talking about?
I mean, I'm a demisexual pan-romantic, so, like, I shouldn't say this is hot, but she's hot! She is... what's the word?
Okay.
Objectively hot. She is objectively hot.
She's that character that you wouldn't mind hearing her say, "Ada, I'm sorry. That was probably a
That
bit
was
much.
terrible, but it was funny.
Yeah.
I think because you said she's very innocent and just really in it for the fun, probably leave her at 4th, though.
Yeah, I'd be willing to. She's making her way up the list. She's earned her spot where she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't put her below that, considering that's her Sulong form.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sulong's forms are really powerful, too. Like, she...
Oh, yeah. Her power pretty much triples.
Yeah.
If I'm no longer needed, I'm gonna go back to spending time with my partners.
Hey,
Alright.
you do what you gotta do, Reaper. Thank you so much for hopping in here for as long as you did.
No problem.
See you, Reaper. It's nice to hear you once in a while.
Yeah, nice to hear y'all too. See ya.
Take care. Alright, we're almost done, people. We're almost done.
Last 3!
Mr. Harrington of Foster's
Harriman.
Home? Harriman, yes. I said
Yes,
Harrington.
Harriman.
Mr. Harriman of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. He is actually the imaginary friend of, you guessed it, Madam Foster.
You know what stinks?
Hmm?
I'm sorry. It's just... It stinks that he is so biased in that he thinks everyone's gonna give up their imaginary friend someday. And yet we find out in the very first episode, which was the pilot episode,
Mm-hmm.
that his human never gave up on him and still has him to that day.
Nope.
Also, the parade float they did for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade that one year was freaking awesome. They rickrolled the crowd, if you didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
with the real live Rick Astley. Anyway, you talk about Mr. Harriman.
I mean, looking back on it, this show was amazing. Uh, it it's a very unappreciated in the sense that I feel like it could have gone so much further with the time that it had, but they did end on a high note. They didn't
Yeah.
just drag it out until it became worthless. Watching the show, you actually do get a little bit of a conclusion. You do get kind of an ending. They actually even did a full-length movie of finding out another imaginary friend's backstory, which kind of wraps up the whole series. But yeah, Harriman is kind of the bookkeeper, the manager, the housekeeper, if you will, of the foster home for imaginary friends. But like you said, he is very by the book. But we do get to see a lighter side of him rarely, and also a side that can be completely feral. Yes, he has gone completely rabbit feral before, too. As a whole, Harriman does have personality traits, but we don't really see a lot of growth in him throughout the series.
No, he mostly stays the same. Although he did embrace his YouTube stardom. Well, whatever social media video platform they used in the series.
Yep. He is very old school. And getting into technology, he kind of grew into it. So, I mean, kind of being a short-spoken character, I'd be willing to put him in fourth gear for what he represents.
Not gonna lie, I don't like rap, but his rap is pretty funny.
Oh,
So he can stay
gosh.
there.
Yep. Alright. Next is the Hanna-Barbera. Ricochet Rabbit.
I think I only saw like one episode of him.
He doesn't have a huge role in Hanna-Barbera, but the fact that he is part of the Hanna-Barbera cast, and I think he even has a short I think he actually did get a chance to appear in the Wacky Races.
Probably. That's probably where I remember him from more than anything.
He does have another character he's usually seen with. I can't remember. It's something Doodly, something of that nature.
He was in the Magilla Gorilla Show, Peter Potamus Show, and what else does he appear in? It doesn't mention what else he appeared. Oh, appears in the Wacky Races reboot episode Slow and Steady. Huh, he showed up in a Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law episode.
Oh my. Well, he's earned a couple of points with that one.
Shit.
I don't really have anything to add on him in terms of his personality and whatnot.
You know, I don't really remember him, sadly. Oh, it says his deputy was Droopalong Coyote.
Troopalong, got it. Yep. Not a very big Hanna-Barbera character.
Nope. I mean, he does show up and stuff. Like, he's shown up in 23 episodes, but it doesn't look like he got his own story.
No. Unfortunately, he is overshadowed by Droopy, Flintstones, Jetsons, Yogi. Unfortunately, he does fall to the wayside, unfortunately.
Yep.
All right, last up is just a good old-fashioned Easter bunny. The concept of Easter originally revolves around the Christianity holiday that was set for the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
So,
Go ahead.
do you want me to explain how this rabbit got assigned to it, or no?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So, a large part of it had to do with pagan holidays. A lot of, especially in Germanic countries, way back when Christianity was trying to take over the entirety of Europe. Many Germanic peoples, especially, and even some of the Celtic and Gaelic peoples, their religious beliefs, which were considered pagan, even for the ones that aren't what we modernly call pagan, had to do with what's known as the Wheel of the Year, the seasonal holidays. They were mostly built around the idea of what time of year you should do what thing pertaining to the harvest or growing crops, mainly. There were a few that were more spiritually aligned from the get-go, but most of it just, you plant your crops at this time of year, you do this at this time of the year, these animals are around at this time of the year, stuff like that. And Easter is derivative of Ostara, or Oster, depending on which origin story you're coming up with. Ostara is the name of the pagan and Wiccan holiday. Oster is the name of a deity, a goddess who is connected with that holiday. And the whole thing is, it's the time of the year when the rabbits are mating in the wild. So they kind of looked at it like, oh, there's rabbits everywhere. Rabbits must be a symbol of Oster. And when Christianity came and pulled on it and was like, hey, we need to make these pagan peoples believe in Christianity, they said, okay, let's tie Christianity's birth of Christ and all that with this idea of bunnies. And we ended up with Easter. That's one of the more strongly supported theories for how Easter became associated with bunnies and vice versa.
And using that concept, they went a little bit further, using eggs as a sign of start of life.
Mm-hmm. Which also works because in the mid to late spring is when many birds also breed. So you're going to see eggs everywhere.
Yep. The concept
So that is how we get Easter bunnies with Easter eggs.
Exactly. So, looking at the tier list, I mean, I have no real complaints other than this last one down here that should never see the light of day ever again. For
And move it up
why,
a tier too.
I mean, why it was created, we'll never know. But
I don't have an issue with the character design. I do have an issue with the fact that they were trying to advertise chocolate with it.
yeah,
Like, that should not have been an advertising character.
hey,
Especially
you
with
wanna buy
how many-
chocolate bar?
There are way too
Yeah.
many people who have hang-ups when you overly sexualize animal characters.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was a very bad move in terms of advertising.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Probably cracked a lot of eggs.
Yeah, we might have found a few
terrible.
extra jelly beans on the living room mat.
God, we're all terrible.
But we have covered a few of these characters who do have a over-sexualized appearance or have sexual history. And they're higher up on the list for their personality traits and their place in the world they represent.
Yeah, like, that was a commercial character. Why is
Yeah.
that sexualized?
Yeah, she has the personality doesn't match what she's advertising.
Yeah, like, maybe they thought, oh, we'll do a bunny rabbit because it'll appeal to kids, but then they made it a sexualized bunny rabbit in terms of her behavior and how she speaks and stuff. So, yeah, to appeal to adults, but you ended up in this weird area as a result.
Mm-hmm. This is something that
You
you would
can't do
expect.
both.
This was something that you would expect maybe with like a lingerie commercial. Maybe not even that.
No, because the lingerie commercial, you still don't even really see those on TV.
Mm,
Oh,
no.
What?
they're on TV.
Not that often.
Brett?
You say so.
Apparently, Brett's seen a lot more lingerie commercials than me.
I feel like they used to be on all the time.
He was doing it for a class report, right?
No, I was just watching TV. And it felt like it was on all the time.
To be fair, he's not really the kind of guy who would intentionally watch commercials for the sexual aspect.
I mean, why would you want to watch commercials for it?
I wanted to watch that stuff.
Yeah, you'd look up the stuff that was intended for that.
Right? Right? Anyways, but yeah, of all of these characters, the reasoning behind this, in case you weren't here, is because we know very little about it ourselves, and we can't really provide any details. This one, however, deserves to be here. We're sorry. Yeah.
The design looks great.
Yeah.
It's just not for what it was used for.
It's what it represents. It's meant to. If its personality was completely different, I might consider moving it a little higher up on the list.
Copper. They emphasize the chest in some of the movements, so...
Oh, I know. I'm very familiar. I'm very familiar with the commercial.
If they ignored that part, too, and didn't add the lines there to emphasize that they got something going on there... Okay, we separate it from chocolate and use it for something else. Okay. But there's two things that need to change there.
Mm-hmm. Even if it was just the chocolate on a shelf with just the narrative without the rabbit, that would probably be a step in the right direction.
They could have kept the rabbit with, like, see that particular thumbnail? If it was just that character, like, from the shoulders up, pointing at the chocolate bar and was printed on the chocolate bars, okay. Fine, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even tell that it's sexualized there. It's just like, it looks sly, almost. Like, you should be eating this.
Mm-hmm.
But with the whole commercial...
Yeah, no. Those are f***ing bedroom eyes right there.
In the context of the commercial, yes. That isolated by itself with no knowledge of the commercial, you could get away with it.
Anyways, I have to go, so...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brett needs to go to bed.
We're wrapping up. Anyways, thanks, Brett. Anyways, people, yeah, we're going to make a copy of this tier list and put it on our Discord for further viewing and for anybody to provide their opinions of it. But yeah, we've had some good stories, we've had some bad stories, and we've had some disturbing stories. But yes, and we do know that there are some rabbits that we probably could have covered on this list, but It's been 3 hours, people. Over 3 hours now.
Yeah.
There's no
Why
way.
do these things take so long?
It's because we go into so much detail with each of these characters, because some of these characters hold a very nostalgic place in our hearts. And because some of these are icons and nostalgia, they have some level of importance, or they just outright disgust us. But yeah, we do thank you for joining us here on our tier list this Sunday. We're sorry that we've kept you listening to us for so long, and we hope that maybe you've gained a little bit of knowledge from this.
And that we didn't bore you.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. The one thing that we didn't do is bore you. If you're disgusted with us, well, it's not our fault. It's what we're given. So, it's what's in front of us.
I pulled low punny after Ultra Instinct. I did a good there.
Yeah, you helped out in that scenario. Granted, there are people that would prefer her on the top, and there's some people that would prefer her on the bottom.
You shouldn't say her, because they can be boys.
Well, sometimes, there are people that prefer them on top, and there's some people that prefer them on bottom.
Copper.
I know, but I had to. I'm sorry.
I know you had to, but that was bad.
I know.
Especially since you did it over.
I regret nothing.
I know you don't regret anything.
But yes, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, everything in between and everything outside of the box, and, well, you know, a near situation, because they identify as a black hole.
Whatever I am.
A black hole has neither gender nor body type to
Hey, I'm not a black hole. I'm just amorphous.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, we hope that you've enjoyed your time here. We hope that we didn't bore you, and we hope to see you here next time on Aenir.
The Omega Republic.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, people. Have a good week ahead, and see you next time.
Ciao.